Chapter 56. Baiya didn't understand what Gu Lingqing meant, so she didn't dare to reply. Gu Lingqing smiled and poked her nose. Idiot, let's go. We're getting out of the car. Baiya watched him open the car door and get off. She didn't dare to ask. She got off the car, took out the car key, locked the car door and passed the key to Gu Lingqing. I'll leave the key with you first. You can drive the car first since you don't have a car, Gu Lingqing said and walked in front. Baiya felt that his words meant that he was giving her the car to drive. It's not convenient for you to drive now. I'll return the key to you tomorrow, Baiya said. Gu Lingqing looked at her. You know what I mean. Maybe you'd prefer me to drive you to and from work every day. Baiya's heart was trembling. She lowered her head. The gift is too expensive. I can't accept it. I'll repay you with my body, Gu Lingqing said domineeringly. He looked ahead coldly and quickened his pace. Baiya felt that he didn't dare to accept the gift because he wanted her. But he said it out loud. She was speechless. Gu Lingqing walked to the door of her room and stopped. Baiya opened the door with a conflicted heart. Gu Lingqing walked in with a cool look on his face. Baiya went to boil water and turned on the TV. Gu Lingqing wasn't watching the TV. Instead, he was browsing on his phone. She stood there awkwardly and opened the packaging of the instant noodles. Suddenly, she felt Gu Lingqing approaching her. Her back stiffened and she didn't dare to breathe. Why didn't you accept my gift and return what I gave you before, huh? Gu Lingqing asked directly. She already felt that the air was thin when she was in the same space with him, let alone when he was standing behind her. I don't like to accept things from others casually, Baiya explained. He turned her face to face with him. We're going to get married in the future. You can't just accept my things casually, right? Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. Aren't we not married yet? Baiya pushed his hand away. Gu Lingqing sneered and saw her resistance. I'll sleep here tonight. What? Baiya looked at her in shock. Her eyes widened, and she could not stay calm. It's not like we haven't slept together before. What are you worried about? I promise not to touch you, so I won't. Gu Lingqing said and turned around. I'm going to take a shower first. Baiya stared at his back. She wasn't worried about what he would do, but she was worried that her rationality was too weak to do anything to him. The more she thought about it, the more she felt that something was wrong. A man and a woman alone in a room. He had that kind of feeling for her again. What if there was a fire and they caught on fire? She would regret it even if she refused. Baiya took the opportunity while he was taking a shower and said, I don't think it's suitable to stay in the same room. I've made you some instant noodles. I'll sleep in the car. She did not wait for his reply and walked out of the door. Gu Lingqing rushed over. Baiya had just touched the handle when he picked her up and threw her on the bed. She remembered that Gu Lingqing was pressing on her shoulders. The water droplets on his hair dripped on her body. His cold handsome face was tense, and his eyes were full of anger as he stared at her. Do you want to make me angry? Gu Lingqing said coldly. Baiya did not know how to explain and pushed his shoulders. His body was wet, and his shoulders were cold. She realized that he was taking a cold shower and felt a strange pity in her heart. She replied, I'm afraid something will happen. What happened? Gu Lingqing's eyes became dreamy. She found it hard to speak, so she lowered her eyes. Her long eyelashes covered her eyelids, like a shy bride. Gu Lingqing's abdomen tightened and his blood flowed in reverse. He frowned. He faced her as if it was useless no matter how many cold showers he took. He could not control the urge in his body at all. Or rather, he did not want to control it at all. It was not like they had not done it before. Gu Lingqing lowered his head and kissed her lips. Bai Yi pushed him away in panic. He was like Mount Tai, not moving an inch. Bai Yi felt that his breath was getting heavier and heavier, and it fell on her face. The temperature in the room was also getting higher. Her mind was buzzing. She could not push him away, and her hands were trembling. His large palm moved down her slender waist. Bai Yi twisted her waist and touched his sensitive parts. She felt like she was a wolf in a tiger's den and made a final struggle. Even if Gu Lingqing raped her now, what could she do? Sue him. She would not do that. There would be no result if she sued him. However, she was not willing to have sex with him just like that. Gu Lingqing felt Bai Yi's resistance. He maintained his last bit of rationality and stopped. He looked at her with pain in his eyes. Xiaoya, don't move from now on. I won't go in. But if you move, I'm afraid I won't be able to control myself. Can you trust me? Bai Yi looked at him while trembling. Her eyes were wet and all kinds of thoughts were fighting in her mind. Gu Lingqing did not wait for her to reply. He was afraid that he would hear something he did not want to hear. He leaned over and kissed her forehead, the corner of her eyes, and her cheeks. His kiss was much gentler than before. Bai Yi did not dare to move. Gu Lingqing turned off the lights. It was pitch black in front of her. Gu Lingqing, what are you doing? I can't see anything, Bai Yi asked in fear. Do you want to see? Then I'll turn on the lights, Gu Lingqing said hoarsely. Bai Yi seemed to realize what he wanted to do. She quickly said, I don't want to see. Listen, I'll be responsible for you, Gu Lingqing promised. Bai Yi looked at him in the night. His shadow was very blurry, but his eyes were very bright. They were like gems in the dark. With the cover of the night, she was not as resistant and uncomfortable as before. Her face blushed a little. He was kissing her, from her cheeks to her lips, and then to her neck. His hot breath was on her skin. Her legs were warm. Bai Yi knew what it was. Although he did not touch the bottom line, she also felt that this was not good. It was not good at all. She really did not understand how powerful Su Jiran was. He could have sex with so many women. Did he not think about his married status? Even if he thought of himself as single, did he not feel guilty towards her? Even if he did not feel guilty towards her, what about Xing Jinyan? She would not be like this. If she loved one, she would never have sex with another. Gu Lingqing, are you done? Bai Yi urged. Gu Lingqing did not answer her. He kissed her lips again. Her heart was beating fast. Although she did not see it, she could guess that he must be very powerful. So powerful that she could feel its explosive power. She did not know why, but she thought of the man from 3 years ago. That man was also very powerful, domineering, and fierce like a beast. Chapter 57. He hugged her tightly and pulled her into his embrace. The air was filled with the scent of love, wantonly entering her nose. Bai Yi didn't dare to move. His breath fell on her neck, tickling her fragile heart. After a long while, Bai Yi cleared her throat. You're done. Yeah, Gu Lingqing replied. His voice was deep and didn't lose its sensuality. In the quiet night, it sounded especially pleasant, just like a radio announcer, causing one's imagination to run wild. Then do you want to take a shower? Bai Yi reminded her. Mainly because he was hugging her now, she felt very hot and her body was sticky. Not at the moment, there's no need to take a cold shower. Go to sleep, it's already very late, Gu Lingqing said gently. But he did it. She was too embarrassed to say anything else, so she closed her eyes. She thought she couldn't sleep, since there was a man lying behind her. But she was too tired, so she fell asleep after a while and didn't even eat the instant noodles. By the time she woke up, it was already morning. Bai Ye looked beside her, but Gu Lingqing was no longer there. Gu Lingqing, Bai Ye called. No one answered her. She saw that the car keys were still on the table, so Gu Lingqing probably didn't leave the hotel. Where did he go so early in the morning? Bai Ye walked into the washroom. Gu Lingqing had brushed her teeth, and the toothbrush was placed in the cup. He had squeezed some toothpaste on her toothbrush and placed it on top of the cup. Bai Ye felt a warmth in her heart. Gu Lingqing looked cold, but sometimes he was quite meticulous. She brushed her teeth and walked out of the hotel. Gu Lingqing walked over from the road, carrying a plastic bag in his hand. He walked in front of her, and the morning sunlight fell on his handsome face. His handsomeness was even more dazzling than the sun. Unconsciously, Bai Ye's heart skipped a few beats. Let's have breakfast. I've already bought it. Let's go after breakfast, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice and walked in front. And, you woke up early? Bai Ye asked, following behind him. If I don't wake up, it will wake up, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Who is he? Bai Ye was puzzled. Gu Lingqing looked at her with deep meaning in his eyes. Bai Ye knew what it meant. She blushed and lowered her head. Gu Lingqing held her hand and said impatiently, hurry up and get a divorce. Bai Ye pulled out her hand and opened the door without saying a word. The 2 bowls of instant noodles on the table yesterday, Gu Lingqing had already gone missing. He took out the breakfast he had bought. 2 steamers of Xilong Bao, 2 steamers of shumai, 2 deep-fried dough sticks, 2 cups of tofu soup, and 2 herbal tea eggs. He bought quite a lot. Bai Ye ate breakfast quietly. Gu Lingqing looked at her. Did I scare you yesterday? Bai Ye didn't dare to answer. If she said she was scared, Gu Lingqing would definitely be angry. She said no, as if she was inviting him to continue. Are we going back in the afternoon? Bai Ye skipped over his question and asked. Normally, we will go back in the afternoon, Gu Lingqing replied. I have to work tomorrow, Bai Ye reminded him. Have you filled in the application form for working in the military? Bai Ye paused. No one filled it for me. I'll go back and tell the hospital to handle it as soon as possible, Gu Lingqing said domineeringly. Bai Ye leaned on the table, drinking the tofu soup and looking at him with her beautiful eyes. In fact, she didn't want to work in the military. In fact, she didn't want to marry him either. But why did it seem that she was led by the nose by him? There was no room for rejection at all. What exactly went wrong? Why are you looking at me like that? Gu Lingqing asked. Can I not work in the military? Bai Ye asked. I can't. Gu Lingqing refused simply and neatly. What if I insist on not going? What do you think? Gu Lingqing asked back, his eyes sharpening. Bai Ye sighed. She relied on Gu Lingqing to get her current job. One word from him and she would definitely lose her job. If she didn't go, she wouldn't know how to appreciate his kindness. He was giving her a promotion. Bai Ye lowered her head and ate the soup dumplings. Gu Lingqing saw her disappointment and felt helpless. You really don't want to work in the military? If you come to my side, I can take care of you. No one will dare to bully you in the military. In fact, I'm very busy with work, so I don't have many chances to see you. If I work in the military, we can see each other every day. Bai Ye was very touched when she heard that. She and Su Jiran had been married for 3 years. It wasn't that they didn't have the chance to see each other, but that Su Jiran didn't want to see her. That marriage had consumed all her energy and feelings. Gu Lingqing was like a poppy. She knew that if she ate too much, she would get addicted, and she might not be able to quit. However, before her rationality could reject her, she had already fallen into the trap again and again. She decided not to struggle anymore. She would give it a try. Baiya took the initiative to kiss Gu Lingqing's lips. "I'll apply." Her kiss was like a dragonfly touching the surface of the water. It couldn't satisfy him at all. This time, it was the first time she had truly compromised. Gu Lingqing was excited. He pressed the back of her neck and kissed her back. His red tongue entered her mouth. He lifted the tip of her tongue and entangled her like a pair of lotus flowers. Baiya closed her eyes. His kiss deepened. It was so deep that his blood was boiling. His abdomen started to tighten again. He couldn't continue anymore, so he let go of her. Her lips were already swollen from his kiss, and they were dyed with a beautiful color. Gu Lingqing cleared his throat and changed the topic. "Eat more. You're too skinny. I'll go take a shower." "Okay," Baiya replied. She lowered her head in embarrassment. When she saw him, she turned her face away even more embarrassedly. When he came out, she had finished her breakfast. "I'll wait for you outside." "Okay." Gu Lingqing actually agreed in a good mood. In the car, Gu Lingqing helped her with the navigation. Baiya drove. "If you don't like this car, I'll get you another one," Gu Lingqing said. It was a statement. "There's no need for a car. My workplace is not far from the hospital," Baiya blurted out. Gu Lingqing looked at her. There was a hidden sharpness in his deep eyes. He was a little angry. "You're still living in Su Jiran's house?" "No, I'm living with Shuangniu. She has a car. I take her car to work every day," Baiya explained. "How many rooms does she have?" Gu Lingqing asked thoughtfully. "2. So, it's quite spacious for the two of us. Is the soundproofing good at her place?" Gu Lingqing continued to ask. Baiya, she seemed to have misunderstood. Did Gu Lingqing mean that he wanted to do something with her at Lu Shuang's place? "No." Baiya quickly replied and dispelled his thoughts. Chapter 58. Didn't you apply to go to the military? If you apply, the military will arrange accommodation for you. That way, you won't have to drive. Also, if I go out, I should be able to apply for a military car, right? Baiya asked. Gu Lingqing nodded. I almost forgot about that. Soon, they arrived at Soldier 108's door. Before he entered the house, he could already hear the sounds of crying and arguing inside. Baiya had a bad feeling. She unbuckled her seatbelt and followed Gu Lingqing in. "Gold, put down the knife. If you die, what will I do?" "You're my only son," Soldier 108's mother cried. Gu Lingqing rushed into the room. Baiya saw a man on the bed holding a knife to his neck. He was very emotional and his eyes were red. He had lost both his legs. "Number 108, what are you doing?" "Put down the knife," Gu Lingqing said sternly. Number 108 saw the chief and paused. He didn't put down the knife. "I'm useless now. What's the point of living? There are no cowards in the army. Even if your limbs are broken, you have no right to end your life," Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice and walked towards number 108. Number 108 raised his chin. The knife was about to enter his skin. "Don't come over. I don't have legs. What can I do for the country? I don't want to be a burden to my wife. We've only been married for 3 months. She won't have a happy life in the future. Don't mention her. She already asked for a divorce. Why are you still thinking about her?" Number 108's mother said sadly. Gu Lingqing had a rough idea of what was going on. After number 108's surgery, he strongly requested to leave the military hospital and go home. It was probably because of this wife. Now that his wife asked for a divorce, it must have triggered him. Where's his wife? Call her here, Gu Lingqing said coldly. Gold's wife refused to come. She said she won't come until the divorce is over. That ingrate. Other than the 200,000 betrothal gifts, it's almost all of our savings, number 108's mother said angrily and sadly. Where is she now? Gu Lingqing asked. She lives in Yellow Flower Village number 20. The village next door, number 108's mother said. Number 108, show me your courage. Don't let a woman look down on you. I'm going now, said Gu Lingqing sharply. Then, he turned around and walked out of the door. Bai Ye followed suit. Isn't number 108's wife pregnant? Is she going to get a divorce even if she's pregnant? Let's take a look first. Gu Lingqing adjusted the navigation. The neighboring village was not far, and they arrived in 5 minutes. Gu Lingqing saw that the door was closed. He knocked on the door. An old lady opened the door. I'm leader Jin Zi. I'm here to see Jin Zi's wife. Gu Lingqing explained the purpose of his visit. Yaya doesn't want to see anyone, the old lady said with a troubled look. Didn't she want a divorce? I'm here to discuss these issues with her, Gu Lingqing said coldly. Let him in. The voice of the golden wife rang out. Gu Lingqing entered the room. Goldie's wife stood in front of Gu Lingqing. You are Goldie's leader. Yes. I want a divorce, the golden wife said directly. Just because he doesn't have legs doesn't mean he can't give you happiness. He came from the special forces, so he won't have any problems with his physical strength, Gu Lingqing said vaguely. Goldie's wife's eyes turned red. We've been married for 3 months. Other than spending time together on our wedding night, he hasn't gone home even once. Now he has time at home. You want me to accompany a man with a lower half of his body? I don't want to. People will laugh at me, Goldie's wife said firmly. Gu Lingqing looked at her deeply. You can't get a divorce in a military marriage unless the soldier has made a grave mistake. Your husband is a hero, a pillar of the country. You can't get a divorce. But he can die. If he dies, I'll be free. I'm only 21. There's no need to waste my youth on a useless person like him, Goldie's wife said coldly. Bai Ye felt a chill in her heart. She looked at the stomach of Goldie's wife. Don't forget that you have a baby in your stomach. I've already aborted the baby. Why would I give a child to a useless person? If I give birth to his child, my life will be over, Goldie's wife said ruthlessly. Bai Ye wanted to slap her. What she killed was her own flesh and blood. That kind of woman was not worthy of gold. What's the condition for you not to get a divorce? Gu Lingqing negotiated. You can mention it. Goldie's wife paused. How much can you compensate Goldie? How much do you want to compensate? Gu Lingqing asked. 2 million. It must be 2 million. I'll get a divorce even if it's a penny less, Goldie's wife said. I'll compensate Goldie 2 million. Also, I'll give his parents a pension. If you don't get a divorce, I'll give it to you too. Now, come with me to see Goldie. He needs you to take care of him. Also, I hope he can go to the military hospital for treatment, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice and turned around. When Goldie's wife heard that it was 2 million, she followed behind Gu Lingqing. Will you really compensate 2 million? I have no reason to lie to you, Gu Lingqing said coldly. Then we won't get a divorce. Goldie listens to me. I'll let him go to the military hospital, Goldie's wife changed her attitude. They drove back. When Goldie saw that his wife was back, he let go and the knife fell on the bed. "All right, we won't get a divorce. Let's go to the military hospital for treatment." "I'll take care of you," Goldie's wife said. Goldie smiled and looked at Gu Lingqing gratefully. "Thank you, Chief. I'll arrange it. Someone will bring you to the hospital. Also, the compensation will be paid within a month." "Take care of yourself," Gu Lingqing said simply and turned around to leave. In the car, Bai Ye looked at Gu Lingqing with a heavy heart. She understood his feelings. Goldie was his soldier, so he should be very sad. Goldie's wife is not worthy of Goldie. Perhaps there's nothing wrong with a divorce. Separation is a chance for everyone, Bai Ye said with deep understanding. Goldie really cares about his wife. Even if she's not good, she's what he wants. I can't make a decision for Goldie because of my own opinion. All I can do is fulfill his wish, Xiaoya. Gu Lingqing looked at Bai Ye and held her hand. Bai Ye saw the pain that flowed through his eyes. "What's wrong? A soldier's marriage can't be divorced. If we get married, we'll be together for the rest of our lives. I swear that I won't let you down in my life. In exchange, I'll let you follow me with your heart forever," Gu Lingqing said seriously. "That's right. A soldier's marriage can't be divorced. If she was with him, it would be impossible for them to be separated." Because of her injury, she threw herself into someone's arms so quickly. Did she lack thinking? However, a soldier's discipline was very strong. If he was strict with himself, she would definitely not leave him. Chapter 59. They went back. "I'll take you to the military area first," Bai Ye asked. "Let's go to your place first." "I'll drive. The injury on my arm is almost healed," Gu Lingqing said in a low voice and sat in the driver's seat. Bai Ye returned the key to him and sat in the front passenger seat. When it was almost noon, they returned to Lu Shuang's place. Bai Ye got out of the car, and so did Gu Lingqing. "Aren't you going to invite me in?" Gu Lingqing asked. Since he had already asked, she was too embarrassed to refuse. She wondered if Lu Shuang was back. She opened the door. Lu Shuang wasn't back. Luckily, she had cleaned the house before, so it didn't look messy. She went to look for shoes to see if there were any for men. Gu Lingqing picked up the book she had left on the coffee table. Bai Ye wanted to grab it, but it was too late. She was learning Russian and copying his notes. "Well, I dropped your book in the water and it's wrinkled. I want to give it back to you after I finish copying it," Bai Ye explained. "I heard that you're learning Russian?" Gu Lingqing asked, slowly flipping through the notes she had written. Bai Ye's handwriting was delicate, and every stroke was clear and not sloppy at all. Her handwriting was like her person. She was actually very rigid, traditional, serious, and serious. Bai Ye guessed that it was Lu Shuang who told her about it, so there was nothing to hide. "I have that plan. It's a bit difficult for you to learn it alone. I'll teach you," Gu Lingqing said in a low voice and sat down on the sofa. Bai Ye sat down next to him embarrassedly. She was a little nervous and asked, "Why do you want to learn Russian?" His eyes dimmed a little. "I was on a mission in Russia, and I found a local translator, but the translator deliberately made a mistake, which led to the death of a comrade. From that day on, I started to learn all kinds of languages. What about you? Why do you want to learn Russian?" "It's probably a coincidence." Bai Ye didn't want to tell him the reason. In fact, she was just trying to kill time, or maybe she was thinking of him. She thought that she and Gu Lingqing would never cross paths again, so she wanted to leave behind some beautiful memories. Gu Lingqing looked at her blushing face. "Because of me?" He, there's no special reason," Bai Ye said guiltily, not even daring to look him in the eye. Gu Lingqing looked at her shy look and his eyes became more charming. He lifted her chin and said, "Actually, I want to teach you something else." His gaze moved from her beautiful big eyes to her red lips, and his eyes became misty. "Remember, I will only teach you, and you can only have me as your teacher." Baiya knew what he was talking about. However, he didn't give her too much time to think and kissed her on the lips. He wasn't in a hurry to enter. His tongue lingered on her lips, moistening her heart, and then slowly entered her mouth. His hands unbuttoned her clothes, one button at a time. Baiya pushed him away. "Didn't we agree to wait until after the divorce?" Gu Lingqing let go of her. He couldn't control himself every time he was with her. He hated her current identity. "Are you hungry? Let's go out and eat." Gu Lingqing changed the topic. "Okay." Baiya quickly stood up and unbuttoned her shirt. They went out. Baiya had just gotten into Gu Lingqing's car when her phone rang. She took out her phone from her bag and saw that it was Su Jiran calling. She instinctively didn't want to answer it. She hung up. Su Jiran called again. Baiya adjusted herself and answered the call. "What's up? Can't I call you if there's nothing?" Su Jiran said evilly. "I think you'll be very busy. I'll come to see you no matter how busy I am. Aren't you at home?" Su Jiran looked at the window of Baiya's room. Baiya didn't want to chat with him. "I'm staying at Lu Shuang's place. I have something to do. I'll hang up first." Baiya didn't wait for his reply and hung up. "I don't think you should tell him where you're staying," Gu Lingqing said coldly. "He'll know that he's a pervert even if I don't tell him. I'll tell him that I'm staying at Lu Shuang's place. He knows Lu Shuang's temper, so he won't do anything stupid," Baiya explained. "I'll arrange a place for you tomorrow." "I don't want him to have a chance to harass you," Gu Lingqing said domineeringly. Now that Su Jiran and Xing Jinyan were showing off their affection, she didn't think that Su Jiran would harass her again. However, seeing that Gu Lingqing had made up his mind, she didn't say anything. After dinner, Gu Lingqing drove her back. "Well, you still have a lot of things to do in the military, like the gold," Baiya reminded him. He really should go back to the military for a meeting. "I'll call you later," Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. "Okay." Soon, he drove Baiya downstairs. Baiya unbuckled her seatbelt and got out of the car. Gu Lingqing followed her. "Baiya," he called. Baiya looked at him. He didn't say anything. He lowered his head and kissed Baiya's lips. Baiya's heart was beating so fast that it felt like it was going to jump out of her throat. They were in broad daylight. It would be bad if someone saw them. She pushed him away. Gu Lingqing pinched her nose. "Coward, you'll be fine when you stop being a coward." "You, go back," Baiya said, blushing. She turned around and walked to the elevator. Gu Lingqing's lips curled up slightly. He went back to the car and drove away. None of them noticed that there was a car in the dark. Su Jiran narrowed his eyes, and there was a dangerous coldness in them. When he saw that Gu Lingqing kissed Baiya, and Baiya didn't reject it, he felt very uncomfortable, as if someone had buried a thorn in his heart. He was jealous, and his face turned livid. When he thought that after he divorced Baiya, Baiya would blossom under Gu Lingqing, he couldn't stay calm anymore. He picked up his phone and made a call. Baiya saw that the caller was still Su Jiran. She really didn't want to answer it, so she hung up. She took a shower and washed her clothes. When she thought of Gu Lingqing's kiss and what happened in the hotel, a strange feeling flowed in her heart. Half an hour later, a message rang on her phone. Baiya saw that it was from Lu Shuang. "I'm in room 1809 of Junkie Hotel. Come over quickly, I have something important to discuss." Baiya was surprised. If Lu Shuang had something to talk to her about, why didn't he come back and tell her? Instead, he invited her to the hotel. Besides, Lu Shuang should have called her. Bai Yi dialed Lu Shuang's number. Su Jiran sat on the sofa gloomily, playing with Lu Shuang's phone. When he saw that it was a call from Bai Yi, he hung up. Lu Shuang was Bai Yi's only friend. According to his understanding of her, no matter how suspicious she was, she would definitely come back. Thinking of this, his eyes were overflowing with color. He got up and went to the bathroom to take a shower. Bai Yi came to the door of room 1809. The more she thought about it, the more strange she felt. She was worried that something had happened to Lu Shuang. Before she came, she bought pepper spray and put it in her bag vigilantly. She rang the doorbell, and the door was opened. Chapter 60. Seeing that it was Su Jiran who opened the door, Bai Yi was very surprised. She realized that something had happened to Lu Shuang. "Where is Lu Shuang?" Bai Yi asked, looking behind Su Jiran. Su Jiran smiled wickedly and moved aside. "Come in and talk." Bai Yi saw him dressed like that and subconsciously held her bag tightly. "There is no need to come in. Why is Lu Shuang's phone with you? Where is she?" Seeing that she did not come in, Su Jiran picked up Lu Shuang's phone, opened the photo album, and handed it to Bai Yi. Bai Yi took the phone suspiciously. She saw the photo album on the phone. It was actually a nude photo of Lu Shuang. She widened her eyes in surprise. "Keep looking, there are many more," Su Jiran said with a smile. He looked at her aggressively, but there was no smile in his eyes. "Where is Lu Shuang? Where is she now? What did you do to her?" Bai Yi asked anxiously. "I will give you 3 seconds to come in. After 3 seconds, I will post these photos on the internet." Su Jiran. "You are despicable," Bai Yi said angrily. "You call this despicable? You are looking down on me." Su Jiran nodded and glanced at the room. The male lead is Shiniyan. As long as these photos are posted, even if Lu Shuang does not want to marry him, she will have to marry him. As far as I know, Shiniyan has more women than me. You've seen what he's like. Su Jiran said with a smile. Bai Yi had no choice but to step into his room and said helplessly, "What do you want?" Su Jiran closed the door slowly. Hearing the door click, Bai Yi's heart tightened and her back stiffened. He put his hand on her shoulder. The hairs on her body stood on end. Su Jiran seemed to be playing a psychological game. He leaned over and whispered in her ear, "There's no need for a month. I can tell you my decision now. I won't divorce." Bai Yi glanced at Su Jiran. She was no longer calm. "Why don't you get a divorce? The person you love is Xing Jinyan, the person who made you spend so much money is also Xing Jinyan, and the person who is more compatible with you is Xing Jinyan. If you mind me spending a fortune for Xing Jinyan, I can also do the same for you. Two people who don't love each other living together will only make them more tired of each other," roared Bai Yi. Su Jiran held her waist and pulled her closer. Bai Yi pushed his chest. "Then fall in love again," Su Jiran ordered. "Impossible," Bai Yi said with certainty. Su Jiran looked down at her with a murderous look in his sharp eyes. "I'll give you 1 day to break up with Gu Lingqing. Otherwise, I'll start with Lu Shuang." Su Jiran took back Lu Shuang's phone from Bai Yi's hand and waved it. Bai Yi's heart skipped a beat. Where is Lu Shuang now? He should have gone back. "I'll wait for your news tomorrow," said Su Jiran as he let go of Bai Yi's hand. His eyes were full of disdain and coldness. Bai Yi rushed out of Su Jiran's room and returned to Lu Shuang's place. Lu Shuang was really back. "Shuang, where have you been?" Baiya asked worriedly. Lu Shuang shrugged. I was bitten by a pig. I went to the hospital to have a full body checkup in case I got sick. How could this happen? Baiya's eyes turned red. It's all my fault. I was careless. When I was taking photos of Su Jiran and Xing Jinyan, I was discovered by Su Jiran. He's such a pervert. He took my phone and gave Shani Yen and me drugs. I'm so angry. Lu Shuang was annoyed. Lu Shuang. Baiya held Lu Shuang's hand tightly. Should we sue him? Please don't. Shani Yen's identity is very special. I don't want to go for wool and come home shorn. It's fine to lose him once. If he wants me to marry him, he might as well kill me, said Lu Shuang impatiently. Baiya's heart sank. She looked at Lu Shuang with pity. I'm sorry, Xiao Bai. I wanted to help you get the evidence, but I was framed. Next time, I won't let Su Jiran go. I promise, said Lu Shuang. Baiya's eyes dimmed. Lu Shuang was in trouble because of her. She couldn't ruin Lu Shuang's reputation and force him to marry Shani Yan again. Lu Shuang's character was the complete opposite of hers. She could endure the hardships of life. But Lu Shuang couldn't. If Lu Shuang married someone he didn't love and couldn't get a divorce, it would be more painful than killing her. Lu Shuang was her only good friend. Tears flowed out of her eyes. They were warm and wet. Seeing Baiya crying, Lu Shuang hurriedly comforted her. Xiao Bai, don't cry. I'm fine. I'll just take it that I've slept with a skillful, handsome, and well-built young man. It's not a loss. Baiya lowered her head and raised the corner of her mouth. She didn't want Lu Shuang to worry. Tears streamed down her cheeks. She knew that she was crying for her love with Gu Lingqing. It ended without a beginning. She was still crying for her fate. It seemed that God was always playing a joke on her. But at least she had a clear conscience. She would never feel at ease for the rest of her life if she hurt Lu Shuang. How could she be happy? Her love should not be built on hurting others, especially her good friends. Crying and crying, Baiya couldn't control herself. She sat on the sofa, buried her face in her palms, and cried out loud. Although Lu Shuang was careless, he also felt that something was wrong. Xiao Bai, what's wrong? Su Jiran bullied you again, didn't he? I'll go and fight with him. He's a big jerk. He should get lost, Lu Shuang said angrily and walked towards the door. Shuangniu. Baiya was worried about Lu Shuang. She was no match for Su Jiran. Su Jiran was from the health bureau. One word from him could make Lu Shuang's father step down. She didn't want Lu Shuang to be impulsive. It has nothing to do with Su Jiran. I'm sad about what happened between me and Gu Lingqing, Baiya explained. Oh, how are you and him? Lu Shuang asked with concern. Baiya shook her head and wiped the tears from the corner of her eyes. Nothing much. I want to treat him to dinner tonight. Can you give us some space? Of course, no problem. You should get close to Gu Lingqing and get rid of Su Jiran. Su Jiran is a scumbag among scumbags. At most, he can't change his scumbag nature, Lu Shuang said angrily. She felt that she was still quite clean and pure. In university, when her classmates were busy dating, she studied hard and worked part-time when she was free. She never dated, let alone had sex with men. Except for the time when she was raped, her second time was still there. She had been shaken and wanted to marry Gu Lingqing after the divorce. But now, she might not be able to get a divorce for the rest of her life. Su Jiran might even, she wanted to marry Gu Lingqing completely before she was tarnished. It could be a beautiful memory, a repayment, or an end. She didn't want to have any regrets. Chapter 61. Baiya plucked up her courage and called Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing, this is Baiya. I want to treat you to dinner tonight. Are you free? Baiya asked. Her eyes were already red. Yeah, I'll come over when I'm free, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. Baiya frowned. She turned her face away and hung up the phone before she revealed her emotions. Last time, she invited him to dinner because she wanted to make things clear to him. This time, they still couldn't go on. She felt uncomfortable. There was a pressure in her body that couldn't find an outlet. It was about to burn her up. She threw the phone on the floor. Lu Shuang heard the noise outside and walked out of the room. She saw that Baiya was not right. She asked worriedly, Xiao Bai, what's wrong? Is Gu Lingqing unwilling to come over? Baiya shook her head. She reached out and held Lu Shuang in her arms. She said in a choked voice, promise me that you will be happy in the future. Yeah, Xiao Bai, what happened? Don't scare me, Lu Shuang asked. He pushed Baiya away and looked at Baiya's eyes. Baiya smiled. She just wanted to bear all the bad things alone. If she told Lu Shuang, it would only make Lu Shuang sad and impulsive. It's nothing. I just felt something. I'll go out to buy groceries later. I can't stay with you. Baiya picked up the phone on the floor. Lu Shuang watched Baiya go out. Her figure was very lonely. He didn't know why, but he had a feeling that something big had happened. Baiya went to the supermarket. She remembered that Gu Lingqing couldn't eat lobster. She chose a Christian carp, fillet, beef tenderloin, green peppers, eggs, meat slices, carrots, tofu, and 2 bottles of wine. At the checkout counter, she took 2 boxes of Durex. After paying, she quickly put the Durex into her handbag. She went back and made a tofu Christian carp soup, braised pork ribs, a green pepper beef tenderloin, and carrot slices. She also minced some of the meat slices and made stewed eggs. After he was done, he took a shower and sat at the dining table in a daze. Gu Lingqing dealt with the military affairs as fast as he could and went to the place where Baiya was now. He knocked on the door, and Baiya opened it. A burst of rich aroma wafted into his nose. It had the warmth of home. He walked in, and Baiya closed the door. He grasped her arm, pulled her to him, leaned down, and kissed her lips. Baiya closed her eyes and didn't push him away. After today, they would really become 2 strangers. From now on, we will not contact each other again. She wanted to burn herself with all her might. Tonight, don't think about right or wrong. Gu Lingqing felt the wetness at the corner of his mouth and looked at Baiya in surprise. Why are you crying? Did I hurt you? Before she met him, she almost never cried. To her, tears were just a sign of weakness. Crying made her enemies happy and her loved ones in pain. However, when she thought about how they were going to be apart, her tears flowed uncontrollably. Baiya shook her head and smiled like a pear blossom. You're early. Isn't the meal ready? Gu Lingqing wiped the tears at the corner of his eyes, kissed her on the cheek, and held her hand as they walked to the dining table. Baiya sat down at the dining table and poured some red wine for them. Gu Lingqing tasted a piece of braised pork ribs. How is it? Baiya wanted to know and asked. Very good, Gu Lingqing praised and ate another piece. Baiya propped her head up, took a sip of wine, and looked at him in a daze. When they first met, he was so high and mighty, distant and noble. She didn't expect that they would have such a day. They ate together, tasted wine together, and were like lovers. Previously, he had forced her to the point that she couldn't breathe. When she was about to lose him, she realized that she was actually willing to be with him. People always cherish things after they have lost them. What they care about is always what they can't get and what they have lost. Gu Lingqing looked at Bai Ye. Why are you looking at me like that? You're not eating. You're so handsome. Your eyebrows are beautiful, your eyes are beautiful, your nose is beautiful, and your lips are beautiful too, Bai Ye said softly. Gu Lingqing was quite pleased with her compliment. Are you infatuated? Bai Ye took a sip of red wine and held it in her mouth. The wine was bitter and astringent, just like her current mood. She stood up, moved her face closer to Gu Lingqing and kissed him on the lips. Gu Lingqing looked at her. The current Bai Ye was a little special. She was much more passionate than usual. Do you want it? Gu Lingqing asked. There was an additional layer of fantasy in his eyes as he looked at her. Bai Ye replied, not denying it. Gu Lingqing only felt a stream of hot blood starting from his brain and rushing to his abdomen. Her destroyed all his rationality, forbearance, and reserve. Gu Lingqing pressed the back of her head and deepened the kiss. He entered her mouth and pulled her into his arms. Bai Ye hugged the back of his neck and kissed him back. Their breaths intertwined in the air and landed on each other's faces. To her, Gu Lingqing was like the sun, emitting heat and falling on her cold skin. She longed for the sun to drive away the coldness in her heart. But she was also worried that if she got too close, she would burn herself. Bai Ye kissed along his lips to his Adam's apple. She tangled with his rolling for a while, and her fingers trembled as she unbuttoned his suit. Gu Lingqing carried her up. Is that room yours? The one on the left. Aren't you going to shower? Bai Ye asked, her face turning red. Together? Gu Lingqing asked, his voice a little hoarse. I've just showered. You can shower. I put a towel in the bathroom. It's the one I used before. I've washed it, it's clean, Bai Ye said gently. Gu Lingqing smiled and put her on the bed. I don't mind you. He walked into the bathroom. When Bai Ye heard the sound of water, her heart beat extremely fast. She exhaled, exhaled, and exhaled again. She pulled the curtains down and put the condoms in her bag on the table. After thinking for a while, she took off her clothes, put them on the bedside table, and crawled under the blanket. She still felt nervous. She was also 24 years old, reaching the age where women were more important. She had been in an empty house for 3 years, and her husband had cheated on her a few times. She shouldn't feel guilty. She shouldn't feel constrained either. Bai Ye kept convincing herself and numbing herself. Soon, she might not be able to withstand the torture and die. Before she died, if she didn't have something with Gu Lingqing, she wouldn't be able to rest in peace. Thinking of this, she calmed down a lot. Gu Lingqing came out of the bathroom with a towel wrapped around his waist, revealing his chocolate-like abs. He walked towards Bai Ye. His figure was too burly, and Bai Ye didn't dare to look at him, so she buried her face in the blanket. Gu Lingqing sat on the bed, lifted the blanket, and revealed his face. Chapter 62. Bai Ye nodded. She had thought it through very clearly. She lowered her head. Her long eyelashes left a silhouette at the corner of her eyes. Still shadow sinking jade was so beautiful. There was a surge of emotions in his heart, flowing into his blood. He rolled over and pulled the covers off her. She was like a holy white jade, her skin was smooth and transparent, and her stomach was flat. She was as beautiful as a forest elf. He looked down at her and kissed her lips, her neck, her collarbone, and down her beautiful curves. Bai Ye let out a soft moan. She wasn't too sure about that feeling, but she felt that wherever Gu Lingqing passed by, there would be waves of indescribable feelings. he was more meticulous than she had imagined. Usually, he was domineering and domineering, not giving her any breathing space. But this time, he was very gentle, patient, and not in a hurry. He was also afraid that he would hurt her, making her afraid and resistant. Gu Lingqing placed his hand on her knee and lowered his head. Bai Ye's muscles were tense, and she clenched her fists. She didn't know that she could do this, and her voice became sharper. No, Gu Lingqing can't do this. Under his touch, she became more and more excited, until Gu Lingqing heard her crying voice and guessed that she had done it. Bai Ye felt embarrassed, and she turned her face away, not daring to look at him. Gu Lingqing smiled, held her chin, and made her look at him. Not bad, he said. Bai Ye's eyes flickered, and she responded, Gu Lingqing laughed happily. Her acknowledgement made him happier than winning a battle. He kissed her slowly, letting her get used to it. 3 years ago, he was controlled by the drug, and he was very rough and barbaric. He should have made her suffer for the first time. With guilt and the intention to make it up to her, he kissed her lips very slowly this time. Bai Ye felt the pain, and her face paled. The first time in her memory brought her nothing but pain. Actually, she really didn't understand why those women liked to have sex with Su Jiran so much. It obviously didn't feel good. Could it be because of love? Bai Ye gasped. She did not cry out in pain. Even her cries of surprise were suppressed. But Gu Lingqing knew that she was in pain. Xiaoye, relax. I won't hurt you. I promise, I'll be responsible for you. Gu Lingqing tried his best to comfort her. Bai Ye stared at him. Because it was him, she gradually relaxed. She still remembered the first time she saw him. He told her that as long as he was alive, nothing would happen to her. The second time, because of him, she was drunk, but she was safe and sound. He even gave her a set of cosmetics. The third time they met, she had helped him pretend to be his girlfriend, and he had protected her from injury. At that time, she had felt that he was so manly. And then there was the 4th, 5th, and 6th meeting. He always protected her. In the future, they might not meet again. Even if they did, they could only treat each other as strangers. Bai Ye wrapped her arms around his waist and pulled him to her side. Even if it was painful, she was willing to bear it. She took the initiative to kiss Gu Lingqing. She closed her eyes and felt that he was now in her world, bearing everything that he had given her. Gradually, the expected pain was no longer there. Instead, she felt very comfortable. She let go of him and looked at him attentively. Panting, sinking, panting again, sinking again. Half an hour later, Gu Lingqing held her in his arms. Only then did she remember that none of them had worked. It seemed that she should go and buy medicine. Bai Ye did not move in his arms. She quietly enjoyed the last warmth. He kissed her on the forehead. Thank you, Xiaoye, Gu Lingqing said in a good mood. Bai Ye looked at him. Thank you for giving yourself to me. Gu Lingqing smiled. When he smiled, he was very charming. She did not want to say cruel words at this time. She was too greedy for the happiness now. Bai Ye hugged Gu Lingqing and buried her face in his arms. She took a deep breath, and her nose was filled with his refreshing smell, like the smell of the sun on the grass. She wanted to remember him forever. She fell asleep. Maybe it was too warm now, or maybe she was too tired after the exercise. She fell asleep. When she woke up, it was already dark. Gu Lingqing was not by her side. She was a little flustered and shouted, Gu Lingqing. What's wrong? Gu Lingqing pushed the door open, turned on the light, and walked to her worriedly. Did you have a nightmare? I thought you left, Bai Ye said softly and sat up with the quilt covering her. I was dealing with some work. I was afraid that it would disturb you, so I went outside to deal with it, Gu Lingqing explained. You must be hungry. I'll go heat up the food for you. Bai Yi took her clothes. He helped her button up. Let's go together. I can't bear to let you work in the kitchen alone. Bai Yi's heart skipped a beat. She felt the feeling of being cherished by Gu Lingqing. Actually, this was how a husband should be, wasn't it? Cooking together, doing housework together, chatting together, sleeping together, everything together. Bai Yi's eyes reddened a little. She was afraid that Gu Lingqing would see through her emotions, so she lowered her head and pretended to look for her shoes. Gu Lingqing bent over, found her slippers, and put them on for her. Bai Yi put on a long dress and followed him out. Gu Lingqing came in with the dishes, and she heated them up. If only I could eat your cooking every day. Gu Lingqing sighed. I don't really like the food prepared by the military. Bai Yi looked at Gu Lingqing, pursed her lips, and did not say a word. Gu Lingqing tapped her nose. You don't want to. Then I'll learn and cook for you. Ha. Bai Yi chuckled and skipped the topic. After a while, they heated up the dishes and ate together. I've already found a lawyer. I'll send a lawyer's letter to Su Jiran starting tomorrow. You can leave within a week, Gu Lingqing said. Bai Yi lowered her head and did not say a word. After you get divorced, I'll bring you home to meet my parents. Don't worry, even if they don't agree, I'll still marry you. They can't order me around, Gu Lingqing promised. Bai Yi's heart ached, and her tears dripped into the bowl. She ate it with the rice. I'm going to find a good day to get married next month. Since I've already decided, I don't want any undue delays. Gu Lingqing was in a good mood today, and it was rare for him to talk so much. Bai Yi closed her eyes, and held the chopsticks tightly, as if she was going to break them. Gu Lingqing. Bai Yi raised her head and looked at him. Her eyes were red, and they were filled with tears. Gu Lingqing saw her like this, and his eyes were filled with pity. His fingertips brushed the corners of Bai Yi's eyes. Did I say anything wrong? Bai Yi clenched her teeth. Her heart was so sad, as if it was weighed down by 1,000 pounds. She could no longer bear it, and the weight of 1,000 pounds had crushed her heart. I've actually been playing with you, Bai Yi said resolutely, and her tears flowed uncontrollably. Chapter 63. From the beginning, I only loved my husband, Su Jiran. I got together with you to provoke him, so I never thought about getting a divorce, Bai Yi said in one breath. She raised her chin and was very determined. Gu Lingqing looked at her face. I don't believe it. If what you said is true, why are you crying? If you only love your husband, what did we do just now mean? Gu Lingqing looked at her fiercely. I cried because I don't know if what I did was right or wrong. I slept with you because you helped me a lot, and I can't repay you. I know that you always wanted to sleep with me, so I used this way to repay you. Bai Yi sniffled and did not dare to look at Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing narrowed his eyes and looked at Bai Yi. I'm only giving you one chance now. Tell me, is what you said true? I don't believe that you don't have feelings for me. Chief Gu, you're tall, handsome, have a good figure, and have supreme power. No matter what kind of woman she is, she will have feelings for you. I'm just an ordinary woman, but I know what I want. Bai Yi raised her head and looked straight at Gu Lingqing. Since it had already started, she could not end it. She could only bite the bullet and carry on to the end. What do you want? Gu Lingqing asked. Her chest was moving up and down violently because she was not calm, and her eyes were sharper. I want to get Su Jiran. I want to take back everything that I lost. Love, marriage, and family. Before Bai Yi could finish, Gu Lingqing smashed the bowl on the ground and looked at her fiercely. You want me to stop disturbing you and leave your life completely? Yes. Bai Yi said firmly, let's end it here today. I should also return to my family. In the future, stay away from women like me. Bai Yi walked to the door and opened it. Please get out. Don't come back here again. If we meet again, pretend that we don't know each other. Gu Lingqing coldly stood up and looked at her with a deep gaze. There was pain in his eyes. He didn't believe that her shyness and tenderness in bed were fake. He didn't believe that Su Jiran, who was such a scumbag, would still want to stay by his side. He didn't believe that she was telling the truth. He really didn't believe that her sudden change was just because she had enough fun. Have you ever liked me? Gu Lingqing asked in a cold voice, his gaze scrutinizing her eyes, as if he could see through her like an X-ray. Nope. We're all adults, and we're just playing around. Now that my husband doesn't want to divorce me, I also choose to rein in the horse before it's too late. Bai Yi choked and said, trying not to cry out loud. Gu Lingqing approached her. His aura was too strong. Bai Yi turned her face away. Gu Lingqing stood in front of her. Your husband doesn't want to divorce you, so you think that you can't get a divorce, so you gave yourself to me and are ready to break up with me, right? I don't know what you're talking about. Bai Yi refused to look at him. I'll definitely get him to divorce me. Don't you believe me? Gu Lingqing looked at her helplessly. It wasn't that she didn't believe her, but she knew Su Jiran's character too well. Let's go. Bai Yi turned her back to him. She couldn't hold back her tears and they flowed out. She returned to her room and locked the door. The room was still filled with Gu Lingqing's scent. But she had chased the person she wanted to keep the most out of her world. She closed the only window, leaving only cold and darkness in her world. Bai Yi leaned against the door and squatted down. She wrapped her arms around her ankles and buried her face in her knees. She suppressed her voice and cried. Gu Lingqing stared at the door of Bai Yi's room. He definitely didn't believe that what she said was true. He walked out and closed the door. He came down from the elevator and called Lu Shuang. What happened to Bai Yi? Gu Lingqing asked directly. You also think that something happened to Bai Yi, right? I don't know, but I think something must have happened to Bai Yi. Her emotions are very abnormal. Lu Shuang told Gu Lingqing his thoughts. Help me ask what happened. No matter what it is, I can solve it. Do you understand? Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Okay, I'll tell you immediately after I know. Are you leaving now? If you leave, I'll go back. Bai Yi said that she would treat you to a meal and asked me not to stay at home. Okay, go back and accompany her. Call me immediately if anything happens, Gu Lingqing said. He turned around and looked at Bai Yi's room. She had turned off the lights. He absolutely believed that she must have had her difficulties. Lu Shuang thought about it. Could it have something to do with her? She and Shiniyan had sex. She was in a daze and couldn't remember anything. When she woke up, she and Shiniyan were not wearing any clothes. Moreover, her phone was missing. She went to the mobile office to get a new card and bought a new phone. Could it be that the problem was with the previous phone? The more Lu Shuang thought about it, the more he felt that the problem was with her. She went back and turned on the lights. Bai Yi was sitting on the sofa drinking red wine. Her face was red and she was a little drunk. Her eyes were red and swollen, and her face was full of tears. Xiao Bai, what on earth happened? Why did you drink so much? Lu Shuang snatched the red wine from Bai Yi's hands. Cool cow, give me the wine. I feel a little sad today. I'll be happy after I finish drinking. Tomorrow, I'll forget everything about my life. Baiya snatched the wine back. Lu Shuang put the wine bottle behind him. Tell me clearly. Why are you sad? What are you forgetting? What are you happy about? Baiya didn't want to say it. Give me the wine. What did Su Jiran force you to do? Does he not want to get a divorce? He's such a scumbag. How could he be so despicable? He has Xing Jinyan and so many beautiful women, and he still wants to hold you back. Lu Shuang was very agitated. I'll find a few people to settle the score with him. She threw the wine bottle into the dustbin and walked towards the door. Don't go. Baiya shouted. Either you tell me what happened now, or I'll beat Su Jiran to death. Sister, go visit me in prison. I'm not joking with you, Lu Shuang said impulsively. Baiya didn't say anything. Lu Shuang picked up the stick beside the door, opened the door and went out. He took a video of you and Shiniyin, Baiya said helplessly. Lu Shuang turned around in surprise and looked at Baiya. You're saying that Su Jiran, that bastard, drugged me and Shiniyin, and even took a video of me and Shiniyin? Is he courting death? Chapter 64. I'll kill them and then I'll kill myself. I, Lu Shuang, won't let them lead me by the nose, Lu Shuang said angrily. Can you stop being so impulsive? Lu Shuang pushed Baiya away. Baiya staggered back a few steps and fell to the ground. Lu Shuang's heart skipped a beat. He held Baiya's hand worriedly. Baiya shook off Lu Shuang's hand. Her eyes were red and she said anxiously, if you kill them, what about your parents? What about me? I'll die with you, okay? Lu Shuang knew that he was impulsive. He knelt down beside Baiya and said apologetically, I'm sorry, Xiao Bai. I've hurt you. Baiya knew that Lu Shuang meant well. She couldn't blame him. Shuang girl, just pretend that nothing happened. I'll handle it, Baiya said in a deep voice. What are you going to do? Su Jiran said that as long as I don't divorce and break up with Gu Lingqing, he won't put these things on the internet. What does Su Jiran want to do? He already has Xing Jinyan, Lu Shuang said anxiously. Baiya calmed down. He probably felt that his toy was taken away, so he took action to vent his anger. What about you and Gu Lingqing? If you don't divorce, you won't be able to be with Gu Lingqing, Lu Shuang said guiltily. Thinking of Gu Lingqing, Baiya's heart ached. Some things are called fate. If you don't have it, you'll lose it in the future even if you insist on it now. I'll explain it to him now. Lu Shuang stood up. Baiya held her arm. What's the use of explaining it to him? If I don't divorce, do you want him to cheat on me? That will hurt him. Promise me, don't tell him about it. Then what should we do? We can't let him misunderstand. Maybe he has a solution. Lu Shuang was so anxious that he was about to cry. Promise me, Baiya said firmly and tightened his grip on her arm. Lu Shuang pursed his lips and said nothing. You want to see me die, don't you? Baiya's eyes were misty. Lu Shuang was afraid that Baiya would die. Okay, I promise you, I won't tell Gu Lingqing. Baiya loosened his grip and returned to his room. She couldn't sleep that night. Lu Shuang couldn't sleep, and so did Gu Lingqing. In the morning, Lu Shuang entered the office with dark circles under his eyes. She saw Gu Lingqing waiting for her in her office. Her eyes flashed with surprise. However, when he recalled Baiya telling him not to tell him, his eyes dimmed again. Why did you come to see me? Lu Shuang asked. Gu Lingqing examined Lu Shuang's expression and asked directly, what problem is Baiya facing now? Lu Shuang wanted to say something but stopped. She thought she was being selfish. She thought that Baiya was suffering too much. If Baiya stayed with a scumbag like Su Jiran for the rest of her life, she wouldn't be able to live. She didn't want to be in Baiya's hands anymore. Chief Gu, actually, Baiya really needs your help, Shuang, do me a favor. Baiya opened the door and saw Gu Lingqing standing in Lu Shuang's office. She was slightly stunned and saw Lu Shuang's panicked face. She realized why Gu Lingqing was looking for Lu Shuang. I think I made it very clear yesterday. Why are you here? Baiya said to Gu Lingqing coldly. Baiya, don't be like this. Lu Shuang didn't want Baiya to fall out with Gu Lingqing. Baiya's sharp gaze landed on Lu Shuang's face. It was the first time Lu Shuang saw the anger in Baiya's eyes. She was slightly stunned and swallowed all the words she wanted to say. She stood aside. Gu Lingqing sensed something was wrong. She lowered her stance and asked softly, "What problem are you facing? Tell me and I can help you." "Why do I need your help with my problem? Who are you to me?" "Besides, I don't have any problem," Baiya said decisively and opened the door. "Please leave. I have business to talk to Lu Shuang. I've kissed you, touched you, and slept with you. Who do you think I am to you?" Gu Lingqing was also a little angry. Lu Shuang opened his eyes wide in surprise. It turned out that Baiya had slept with Chief Gu. Baiya was a good girl. Baiya turned her face away. "I made it very clear yesterday that I've been playing with your feelings. Just take it as a one-night stand. I was just too lonely, so I did something wrong. I only love my husband." "Baiya, that's not what you think," Lu Shuang explained anxiously. Baiya frowned and looked at Lu Shuang angrily. "I'm telling the truth. Didn't you bet with me whether he would sleep with me or not? Can't you afford to lose the 500 yuan? I even promised you." "Baiya." Lu Shuang looked at Baiya, discrediting him. Baiya raised her chin and looked at Gu Lingqing. "Do you still remember that club? It was the time when I was drunk. It wasn't a chance encounter. Shuang Niu brought me to look for a man on purpose." "Don't say that." Lu Shuang wanted to cry. "It's not like that. The truth is that my husband has changed, and so have I. I won't get a divorce, and I don't want anyone to affect our relationship as husband and wife. Can you let me go?" Baiya said in a choked voice. Her cold eyes drowned all her real thoughts in her eyes. Gu Lingqing didn't believe her. She looked at Lu Shuang. Did Su Jiran change his mind? Why would that scumbag change his mind? Lu Shuang blurted out. "Gu Lingqing, don't tell me you've really fallen in love with a married woman like me." Baiya interrupted. "What's her problem?" Gu Lingqing ignored Baiya and asked Lu Shuang directly. Lu Shuang looked at Baiya and then at Gu Lingqing. "I was raped 3 years ago, and I'm pregnant," Baiya said coldly. Gu Lingqing looked at Baiya in surprise. He was completely shocked. "You're pregnant?" "Yes, Gu Lingqing. Don't mess with a woman like me anymore. We're in heaven and on earth. We're not suitable. Where's the child?" Gu Lingqing continued to ask. Lu Shuang raised his chin. "I don't need to report to you about my matters." Gu Lingqing clamped Baiya's chin. "I say, where's the child?" Baiya turned her face away and bit her lip so hard that it bled. Lu Shuang felt sorry for Baiya. She compromised. "Baiya, you win. I'm willing to accept the 500 yuan. When I told him that you needed help, he looked so stupid. He thought that you really had a problem last night." Lu Shuang smiled. Baiya looked at Lu Shuang. "I told you that he's in love with me. That's all there is to him, Chief." Gu Lingqing scrutinized Baiya's beautiful face. He saw the disdain in Baiya's eyes, as well as the mockery of love. For a moment, he didn't seem to know her. Bai Ye didn't dare to look at the pain in Gu Lingqing's eyes. He was afraid that he would suffocate from the heartache. Chapter 65. You let Su Jiran touch you. Gu Lingqing's eyes turned cold. His eyes were like an icy lake, desolate and cold. Bai Ye lowered his eyes. His long eyelashes covered the fluctuation in his eyes. Lu Shuang looked at Bai Ye nervously. All men would care about this. If Bai Ye admitted it, then the relationship between her and Gu Lingqing would be over. She really hoped that Bai Ye could deny it. Bai Ye uttered a word from his throat. Pain flowed through Gu Lingqing's eyes. It merged into his boundless eyes and became obscure. After sleeping with me, you slept with Su Jiran? Gu Lingqing asked coldly. His face was livid. There was no warmth at all. Bai Ye closed his eyes. There was bitterness and sadness in his eyes. You can leave now, Gu Lingqing said in despair. He walked out of Lu Shuang's office without a trace of reluctance. Tears flowed out of Bai Ye's eyes. She could not bear to part with him, could she be heartbroken, and could do nothing about it. Finally, she tried her best to drive away the last trace of warmth. Her heart was about to suffocate. Her breath was thin. Seeing Bai Ye's tears, Lu Shuang's heart also ached. He had known Bai Ye for so many years. He had never seen Bai Ye cry so sadly. Bai Ye, I can see that he likes you. He came to me on his own initiative. I know how much he cares about you. Why are you so heartless? Lu Shuang asked confusedly. Bai Ye cried quietly. Why don't I call him back and tell him? Lu Shuang's voice was also choked. He passed the tissue to Bai Ye. Bai Ye blew her nose and looked at Lu Shuang. Her eyes gradually became clear. Listen, never let Gu Lingqing know the truth. Otherwise, my efforts today will be in vain. If you tell Gu Lingqing, you won't be my friend anymore. I don't understand. Isn't it good to let him solve your problem? It's better than being alone and helpless. Lu Shuang felt sorry for Bai Ye. What if I can't solve it? What do you think I can give him? He was a soldier with a bright future. He might even become a national leader in the future. Being with me would only be a stain on his political career. I didn't want to wait for him to blame me 10 years later. I didn't want him to leave me completely. Life is good for everyone, Bai Ye said rationally. Maybe he can solve it. I can't gamble with his future. Bai Ye paused. Her eyelashes trembled and she added, because I like him. She cried again when she said the last sentence. She had been struggling, rejecting, and pushing him away because she didn't understand her own thoughts. She wanted to start, but she was afraid to start. She didn't see her heart clearly until they were about to separate. She liked him. However, she could only be submerged in the dust of time. Bai Ye's phone rang. She saw that it was Su Jiran's number. She frowned and answered it. Are you ready? Su Jiran asked hurriedly. I'll come out later. Bai Ye hung up the phone, wiped her tears, and went back to the topic. I asked for leave today, but I have a pregnant woman who will have an operation in the morning. Please take my place. No problem. Lu Shuang asked worriedly, who called? Su Jiran. I'll go to his mother's house with him later. I'll go first. Bai Ye lowered her head and turned to leave. Lu Shuang looked at Bai Ye's frail back and felt very sad. She should have done something. She shouldn't have waited for death. Lu Shuang walked out of the hospital and saw Su Jiran's car. He leaned against the car door with a cigarette between his slender fingers. The smoke obscured his face, making it hard to see what he was thinking. Baya walked up to him. Su Jiran narrowed his eyes. Why are you crying? Does it have anything to do with you? Baya said coldly. She opened the back door, sat in the seat, closed her eyes, and pretended to sleep. Su Jiran got in the car and looked at Baya in the rearview mirror. He felt suffocated. You won't visit your mother-in-law with this face, will you? You don't have to take me there. Baya didn't even open her eyes. Do you know what it means if I take you there? Su Jiran was a little annoyed. No matter what it means, it doesn't mean much to me. Baya said indifferently. Su Jiran stopped the car and turned to look at her. Are you going to treat me with this attitude for the rest of your life? Baya opened her eyes and looked at him coldly. It's too long to waste my life on people like you. He threw the jewelry box on her and ordered, put it on. Baya looked at the murderous look in his eyes and opened the box. There was an emerald bracelet inside. This bracelet is worth 5 million. You won't be able to earn this much money in your whole life as a doctor. Now I'm giving it to you. Su Jiran said arrogantly. I'm sorry, but the hospital doesn't allow me to wear bracelets. Baya didn't want it at all. She closed the jewelry box and threw it to the side. Her action angered him. Su Jiran got out of the car and opened the back door. He opened the jewelry box and took out the jade bracelet. He held Baya's hands tightly and put the bracelet on. The size of the jade bracelet was very small. It was not her size at all. It was very painful when she put it on, and the skin on the back of her hands was scratched. Su Jiran was really powerful. Baya tried to pull it off, but she couldn't. She was also angry and threw it at the car window. Su Jiran held her wrist. Go ahead and throw it. 5 million. Don't leave me a single cent. I want you to work for me for the rest of your life. Baya pursed her lips. She was so angry that her hands were trembling. Su Jiran slammed the door and got into the driver's seat. He accelerated the car to 180 kilometers per hour and sped on the road. Baya clenched her fists so tightly that her nails were digging into her palms. Su Jiran saw that Baya didn't say anything, so he said, My mother was born in a scholarly family. She likes girls who are well-educated and obedient. You will be with your mother-in-law for the rest of your life. Put away your pride, it will be good for you. I've been married for 3 years, and this is the first time I see my mother-in-law. I'm really a special daughter-in-law. Baya laughed at herself. So you should know what today means. I'm starting to acknowledge your identity, Baya. Su Jiran said arrogantly. Baya looked at his devilishly charming face coldly. He admitted that she didn't care at all. Let me remind you, Gu Lingqing's mother lives in the same villa area as my mother. I'll pretend that I don't know about your past with Gu Lingqing. Don't bring it up again. Otherwise, it will only make things awkward for both of us, Su Jiran said meaningfully. There was a flash of light in his dark eyes. Baya looked down. Gu Lingqing's face flashed in her mind. He would live well without her. Chapter 66. Su Jiran brought Baya to the place where Su Jiran's mother lived. Remember to greet her. Su Jiran reminded her. He unbuckled his seatbelt and got out of the car. He took out the lilies and a fruit basket from the trunk. He handed the lilies to Baya. My mom likes this kind of flower. She likes to eat bland food and likes a well-behaved daughter-in-law. Baya did not take it. She turned her face away. I'm really sorry. I was born to be well-behaved. A sharp light flashed across Su Jiran's eyes. He warned her arrogantly, Baya, don't forget that I can send you and your good friend to hell at any time. Bai Ye's lips twitched. She took the flowers from Su Jiran's hand. Other than threatening and despicable, what else do you have? Su Jiran saw the disdain in her eyes. He held her chin. You just have to remember that those who obey me will prosper, and those who oppose me will perish. Bai Ye looked down and sneered. Su Jiran pulled Bai Ye into the house. Young master is back. The housekeeper quickly took a pair of slippers from the shoe rack and placed them in front of Su Jiran. She then took a pair of disposable slippers from the bottom of the shoe rack and placed them in front of Bai Ye. Mom! Su Jiran called out. He passed the flowers and the fruit basket to the housekeeper. He gripped Bai Ye's arm tightly as if he was going to break it. With a warning tone, he lowered his voice and said, "Greet her." Bai Ye looked at the dignified woman on the sofa. Xiong Dani was flipping through a book elegantly. Because she had taken good care of herself, she looked like she was in her 40s. She had a good temperament and self-restraint. Mom! Bai Ye called out. Xiong Dani glanced at Bai Ye and placed the book on the coffee table. Didn't I tell you not to bring her to see me? Su Jiran walked over and sat beside Xiong Dani. He put his arm around Xiong Dani's thin shoulders and said, "An ugly daughter-in-law has to meet her parents-in-law eventually. I'm afraid that if I have too many daughters-in-law, I might not be able to recognize faces." Xiong Dani said coldly. She looked at Bai Ye's wrist and frowned. Is that bracelet the one I like? I let her try it on. She bought it just to show her respect to you. Su Jiran said and looked at Bai Ye. Xiaoya, give the bracelet to Mom. She can feel your sincerity. That's enough. That bracelet is worth more than 5 million. How could a doctor have so much money? Do you think I don't know who bought it? Use soap in the bathroom. Don't ruin my jade bracelet, Xiong Dani said arrogantly. Bai Ye found it funny and laughed. She didn't even try to hide the disdain in her eyes. She walked into the bathroom. Xiong Dani gave the housekeeper a look and the housekeeper followed her in immediately. Young madam, this is for you. The housekeeper passed the hand sanitizer to Bai Ye. Bai Ye squeezed out the sanitizer and applied it on her hands. The housekeeper picked up a towel and wiped the bottle of sanitizer. Bai Ye frowned and looked at her. What do you mean? I'm sorry. Madam is a neat freak, the housekeeper explained awkwardly. How could someone who loves cleanliness give birth to Su Jiran? How ironic. Bai Ye took off the bracelet and placed it on the sink. The housekeeper cleaned it immediately. Bai Ye walked out of the bathroom. Is that kind of woman good enough for you? I wouldn't even want Xing Jinyan to see me, let alone Xing Bachuan's daughter, Xiong Dani scolded. Yes, yes, yes. Mom is right. I've already married her. She can't become a wife just because of her husband. Su Jiran coaxed Xiong Dani with a smile. What kind of taste do you have? She's an obstetrician. She's always breaking her abdomen. Who knows how much blood her hands are stained with? It's disgusting to think about it. I've spoiled you too much, Xiong Dani said in disgust. She looked at Bai Ye and said, when are you leaving? I'm afraid it'll get dirty here. What if you're hungry? You can disinfect it if it gets dirty, Su Jiran said to Xiong Dani. Madam. The housekeeper came out with the jade bracelet. Put it in the UV box and bring it to me tomorrow, Xiong Dani ordered. Bai Ye smiled. Su Jiran and his mother were birds of a feather. They were both weirdos. Did he think she was dirty? Bai Ye walked toward Su Jiran with a cold glint in her eyes and held Su Jiran's hand. Her hands were dirty. If she could, why didn't she disinfect Su Jiran too? Xiong Dani took a wet towel from the coffee table and handed it to Su Jiran. She said to Baya, since you've married into our family, you have to follow our rules. Su Jiran took the wet towel from Xiongdani and wiped his hands cooperatively. What rules? Baya asked, her fingers tracing the shape of Su Jiran's face. Su Jiran realized Baya's intention and held Baya's hand. Stop it. Xiongdani was even more disgusted with Baya. She ordered, first, quit your current job. As the daughter-in-law of the Su family, you don't have to show your face in public. You won't be able to earn back a jade bracelet in your lifetime. Second, you can't be jealous. It's inevitable for your husband to socialize outside. You have to be patient. It's normal for you to play along. Third, you'll inevitably go out to socialize. If you lose your etiquette, you'll lose the face of the Su family. From now on, I'll hire a teacher to teach you. Fourth, I'm afraid of getting dirty. You have to be clean. I'll arrange the rest for you. You have to memorize it. Don't make any mistakes. Do you understand? I'm sorry, I can't do that. A mother-in-law like you can marry anyone who wants it. Baya stood up. What do you mean? Xiongdani widened her eyes and looked at Baya in disbelief. I mean exactly what I said. Baya walked towards the door. Stop right there, Jiran. What kind of person did you find? Xiongdani said angrily. Su Jiran didn't expect Baya to be so angry. He grabbed Baya's arm and ordered, apologize to Mom. I didn't do anything wrong. Why should I apologize? Baya's face was cold. She wanted to pull her hand out. Su Jiran held it so tightly that she couldn't pull her hand out. I brought you here so that my mother will acknowledge you, not so that you can anger my mother. When I say apologize, I'll count to 3 and you can disobey me as much as you want. Su Jiran said sternly. His eyes were as sharp as a knife. Baya's chest heaved violently. She glared at Su Jiran and pursed her lips. The atmosphere was terrifyingly tense. If there was nothing left in this world, only despair and a hellish life, she might as well just die. If she died, it would be useless even if Su Jiran had something on Lu Shuang. He didn't have to go against Lu Shuang and offend Her Highness. Auntie, my dad asked me to invite you to my house for dinner. Su Shaoling walked in. She froze when she saw Baya. She asked defensively, why are you here? Baya also looked at Su Shaoling in surprise. Chapter 67. 3 years ago, she forced Su Jiran to marry her. The church was bustling with noise and excitement, but none of the people who came were their relatives. Su Jiran had spent 50 yuan to invite each of them to sit down. She had never met Su Jiran's relatives. She knew nothing about Su Jiran. It turned out that Su Jiran and Su Shaoling were cousins. He and Su Changhao were also cousins. Su Changhao was Gu Lingqing's good friend. Their families all lived in the same villa area. What kind of fate was this? She was just a commoner. She shouldn't be mingling with the children of high-ranking officials. With Su Shaoling as a buffer, Su Jiran hugged Baya's shoulder tightly and smiled wickedly. Aren't you going to call me sister-in-law? Sister-in-law. Su Shaoling was even more shocked. Cousin, when did you get married? She. Su Shaoling pointed at Baya. She wanted to say something but stopped. If Baya was Su Jiran's wife, then Baya and Gu Lingqing were nothing. As expected, Gu Lingqing was acting with other women in front of her. Thinking of this, Su Shaoling was in a good mood. She's a good match for you. My boyfriend is coming to my house for dinner today. His family is coming too. You, sister-in-law, and aunt should come too. We'll be relatives in the future. Boyfriend? Gu Lingqing? Su Jiran asked with a smile. Cousin, you know that I only like him. Now that the clouds have parted and the moon has come to light, he has accepted me. Su Shaoling deliberately said in front of Bai Ye. Bai Ye lowered her eyes. Her long eyelashes covered the emotions in her eyes. She thought that she wouldn't be sad. After all, she was the one who pushed Gu Lingqing away. But when she heard that he had accepted Su Shaoling and was going to Su Shaoling's house for dinner and to meet his parents, her heart still hurt. That kind of pain was unexpected. He wanted to pretend that he didn't care about it, but he couldn't deceive his own heart. Okay, let's go together. It's time for everyone to meet. It seems like many things have deviated from their tracks. It's time to return, right, my wife? Su Jiran said as he stared at Bai Ye meaningfully. Bai Ye looked away. I don't want to go. Su Jiran's eyes flashed with malice. It's not up to you. There are some people you can't covet, I warned you. What does that mean? Who else does she covet? Was she unfaithful to her marriage? I will never let such a woman become my daughter-in-law. Xiong Dani said keenly. Of course not. She wouldn't dare. Su Jiran smiled confidently and looked at Bai Ye. Right, Xiaoye. Bai Ye clenched her fists and looked at Su Jiran. He was like a real venomous beast, pressuring her until she couldn't breathe. She went to meet Gu Lingqing's parents. Even if she and Su Jiran divorced, it would never be possible for her and Gu Lingqing to be together again. Gu Lingqing's parents wouldn't agree. But she had no choice but to bite the bullet and go. Jiran, are you sure you want to bring her? I can't afford to lose face. Xiong Dani reminded him unhappily. She has to meet them eventually. Let's go. Su Jiran hugged Bai Ye's waist. Bai Ye pulled his hand away and said sarcastically, Aren't you a neat freak? Be careful not to dirty your hands. It's already dirty anyway. It doesn't matter, Su Jiran replied. He hugged her even tighter and pulled her into his arms. Bai Ye's face was pale. When she pushed Gu Lingqing away, she said how loving she was with her husband. Su Jiran was willing to cooperate, so she couldn't turn her back on him. Su Shaoling observed Su Jiran and Bai Ye. Since Bai Ye was a married woman, she didn't feel so repulsed anymore. Su Jiran had never failed in wooing a woman. He was the kind of man who was bad and liked by women. It's just 100 meters ahead. It's not too far. Bai Ye, let's go shopping when we have the chance, Su Shaoling said to Bai Ye. Her eyes were meaningful and proud. Bai Ye didn't respond. Didn't you hear Ling talking to you? What kind of parenting is that? Xiong Dani lectured unhappily. Bai Ye clenched her teeth. Su Jiran pinched her waist. Bai Ye glared at Su Jiran. Mom is talking to you. Respond if you hear me, Su Jiran threatened with a smile. Bai Ye still didn't say anything. Anger and frustration gathered in her heart. It expanded and was about to explode. The four of them entered Su Shaoling's house. Su Changhao was surprised to see Bai Ye. Brother, let me introduce you. She's my cousin's wife. They're married, Su Shaoling said happily. You're married? Just now. Su Changhao asked Bai Ye in surprise. We've been married for 3 years. It was a secret marriage before, but I don't think there's a need to anymore. I brought her to see my mom and came over to freeload, Su Jiran said with a smile. Su Changhao looked at Su Jiran and then at Bai Ye. He had a bad feeling. Take a seat. I still have some work to do, Su Changhao said. He walked into his room and called Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing picked up the call. I'm already at the villa. I'll be there soon. I'm not rushing you. There's a huge accident. Baya is here too. She's actually Jiran's wife. Do you know about this? Su Changhao said in shock. I know. Gu Lingqing's voice was deep. So you and she were pretending. Su Changhao was confused. Gu Lingqing was silent for a while. Then, he asked, how did she and Su Jiran look? It was very strange. Su Jiran seemed to be swearing his leadership. But Baiya's expression was very bad. She was cold and seemed to reject Jiran's intimacy. What's going on with you guys? You promised to come to my house for dinner. Could it be related to Baiya? The more Su Changhao thought about it, the more he felt that something was wrong. Don't worry about it. That's it. I'm hanging up. Gu Lingqing hung up the phone coolly. There was a deep and sharp light in his eyes. In the living room. Speaking of my son-in-law, he's really a dragon among men. He's already a major general at such a young age. Now, he's even the chief of the special forces. He's directly under the management of the military committee. His father is now the deputy commander. His mother manages a company. I heard that his family's company is on the list of the world's richest people. This child was also very handsome and had a striking appearance. Luckily, Ling and he are childhood friends. Otherwise, my Ling wouldn't even have a chance. Su Xiaoling's mother held Xiong Dani's hand and said, Then I'm lucky this time. I can see this handsome chief, Xiong Dani said with a smile. Oh, right. What's wrong with your daughter-in-law? What does she do? When did she get married? You didn't even tell us. Su Xiaoling's mother hit Xiong Dani and said. She's a doctor. Jiran got married 3 years ago. I didn't even know. Otherwise, why would I have agreed to it? This girl's hands are dirty. Jiran bought me a 5 million yuan jade bracelet and she secretly wore it. Don't you think it's disgusting? Xiong Dani looked at Baiya with disdain. Her voice wasn't low. Probably everyone could hear her. Gu Lingqing, who just came in, heard it too. Chapter 68. Baiya felt embarrassed, especially when Gu Lingqing heard it. But thinking about it, so what if he heard it? She didn't have a good impression of him at all. When Gu Lingqing and the others came in, everyone in the Su family stood up and went to welcome them. Su Jiran sat on the sofa arrogantly and looked at Gu Lingqing coldly. He curled up the corner of his mouth and looked lazy. I've invited you several times and I finally got my wish today. Come and sit down. Su Xiaoling's father, Su Zheng, held Gu Tianheng's hand and said warmly. I've been busy before. Now that I have some free time today, I came here immediately, Gu Tianheng said with a smile. What an honor. Su Zheng led the way. The group of people began to sit down. The women nodded at each other as a greeting. A big round table. From the main seat to the right, they were Su Zheng, Gu Tianheng, Gu Lingqing's mother, Gu Lingqing, Su Xiaoling, Su Jiran's mother, Baiya, Su Jiran, Su Changhao, Su Xiaoling's mother. There were 10 people in total. After sitting down, Gu Tianheng saw Baiya. He had seen Baiya in Gu Lingqing's military area before. He was surprised and said, You are. Su Jiran put his hand on Baiya's shoulder and introduced her with a smile, my wife. Oh. Gu Tianheng smiled and said meaningfully, Very good, very good. Gu Lingqing's cold eyes glanced at Baiya's face. Baiya lowered her eyes and didn't look at anyone. She didn't want anyone to see the expression in her eyes. Uncle, what about the recruitment of doctors in the special military area? I've been waiting for a long time, Su Xiaoling said in a sweet voice and held Gu Lingqing's arm. Bai Ye's eyes flickered and looked at Su Xiaoling holding Gu Lingqing's arm. Gu Lingqing did not refuse. Bai Ye swallowed his bitterness. Su Xiaoling's family hired a professional chef, and the chef's assistant poured brandy for everyone. About this matter, it's not up to me. It's up to Lingqing. He's the leader of the special forces. Even I can't order him, Gu Tianhang joked. Lingqing, shouldn't you hurry up and settle this matter? You'll be able to spend time with Xiao Ling in the future. That lass has been nagging me about this matter every day. Gu Lingqing's mother said with a smile. Bai Ye subconsciously glanced at Gu Lingqing's mother. Gu Lingqing's mother was very beautiful, noble, and elegant. Her hair was coiled up on her head, and she had the capability and decisiveness of a strong woman. Her eyes revealed the acuteness and wisdom that could see through the world. In terms of appearance, Gu Lingqing mostly resembled her mother. Gu Lingqing replied with a deep voice and took a sip of brandy. There was not much of a reaction on her face. Before you guys came, my sister-in-law told me that Ling Er's boyfriend was so outstanding that he could only exist in the heavens. Now that I look at him, he is indeed extraordinary. Here's to you. Xiong Dani raised her glass to Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing also raised her glass, and she looked at Bai Ye from the corner of her eyes. Bai Ye still had her head down, and Su Jiran picked a piece of beef fillet for her. Look at how you're praising him. Is he your son? Gu Lingqing's mother looked at Su Jiran. Jiran, he's the deputy director of the health bureau now. He's a little naughty, Xiong Dani said proudly. The younger generation will surpass us in time. He's so accomplished at such a young age, Gu Lingqing's mother praised. He's still working hard, auntie. Here's to you. Su Jiran smiled devilishly. He raised his glass and took a big gulp. This child is so charming. You're so lucky. I can tell that you have a deep relationship with your son. Gu Lingqing's mother also took a sip and frowned. Old Su, the alcohol content is quite high. Aren't you afraid that I'll get drunk and go crazy in your house? Why should I be afraid if you go crazy? Your old Gu is still around. He's still young, and he can still deal with you, Su Jing joked. It's not that I can't deal with him, but I don't dare to. If Chief Song goes crazy, I'll be in trouble. Gu Tianhang smiled gently and looked at Gu Lingqing's mother, Song Shiyu. Hey, hey, hey. The two of you are showing off your love. Aren't you ashamed? Come, let's drink, Su Xiaoling's mother said and picked up her glass. Bai Ye followed everyone and took a sip. She did not know the brand of the brandy, but it was very spicy. She did not like it. Everyone chimed in, chatting happily. On the other hand, she did not say a word. It was as if she did not fit in with the lively banquet. After a few sips, she was a little tipsy. She looked at Gu Lingqing and happened to meet his gaze. Then, she looked away. Su Jiran suddenly lowered his head and kissed her on the forehead. Su Jiran drank a lot. The strong smell of alcohol rushed to the tip of her nose. Bai Ye was stunned. She did not like him to have physical contact with her, but under such circumstances, she could not act up. Su Jiran smiled and looked at her confidently. There was a hint of intoxication in his eyes. He lifted her chin and slowly moved his lips to hers. His action attracted the attention of the others at the table. Bai Ye clenched her fists. Should she dodge or take it? Her mind was in a mess. She could not make up her mind. You two are quite affectionate, Su Changhao said and interrupted Su Jiran's kiss. No matter how good other women are, they are not as good as my wife. Other women belong to others, but only my wife belongs to me. Su Jiran raised his glass and clinked with Su Chonghao's. He drank the wine in one gulp. Su Shaoling smiled. Her cousin was really good at wooing women. She looked at Gu Lingqing. Lingqing, come to my room. I have something for you. Gu Lingqing's jaw tightened. His face was livid and his deep eyes hid his anger. He stood up and left with Su Shaoling. My girl is so shameless. They are not married yet and she brought him to the room, Su Shaoling's mother said helplessly. So what? They are going to get married sooner or later. It doesn't matter if they do it earlier or later. Moreover, Lingqing is not young anymore. He is a hot-blooded young man. He will always have needs, Su Jing said indulgently. Bai Ye's heart tightened. It was as if something was gripping her heart. A wave of sourness flowed out from her heart and reached the blood. She took a sip of wine and numbed her mind with a more bitter and spicy taste. All right, since old Su has said so, I can't go back on my word. Why don't we set the wedding date? Gu Tianhang said. Bai Ye felt her head was heavy and her appetite was churning. She covered her mouth and said, Excuse me. Chapter 69. She knew that she was sad. She started to feel sad when she saw Gu Lingqing appear in Su Shaoling's house. In fact, even if it wasn't Su Shaoling, there would still be other women who deserved him. He would never be hers, so why should she feel sad? Bai Ye took a deep breath and splashed cold water on her face to make herself more rational. The door was suddenly pushed open. Bai Ye saw that it was Gu Lingqing. Her heart tightened. She nodded and said softly, I'm fine now. I'll let you in. Gu Lingqing stared at her and locked the door. Bai Ye looked at him in confusion and met his deep eyes. His eyes seemed to contain the universe, and she couldn't see it clearly at all. Why are you crying? Gu Lingqing asked. Bai Ye turned her face away guiltily. I'm not crying. I drank too much and I want to throw up. Gu Lingqing walked towards her. He was approaching. Bai Ye stepped back subconsciously. Gu Lingqing came to her, lifted her chin and looked at her coldly. I don't believe you. I don't need you to believe me. Bai Ye pushed him away and walked towards the door in a panic. Gu Lingqing was annoyed. She didn't avoid Su Jiran's kiss, so he felt that he had lost his mind. He grasped her arm, pulled her to his side, leaned down, and kissed her on the lips. Bai Ye was so scared that she pushed his chest desperately. This was Su Shaoling's house. He was crazy. They were still outside. Perhaps someone had seen him enter the bathroom. However, the more she struggled, the stronger Gu Lingqing became. He pressed the back of her head and put his fingers in her hair, not letting her have the possibility to retreat. They both drank a lot, and the smell of alcohol lingered in each other's noses. Bai Ye was almost out of breath because of his kiss, but he didn't let her go. She felt the oxygen disappearing bit by bit. She had no strength at all. The hand that was originally pushing him away instinctively held onto his arm to support her body. Only then did he release her, panting. His chest was heaving up and down as he stared at her. Let go of me. I'm going out. My husband is still outside, Bai Ye said worriedly. The word husband stimulated all of his nerves. Gu Lingqing picked her up and put her on the sink. The coldness of the pool made her shiver. Gu Lingqing, what are you doing? Bai Ye wanted to get down. He held her back with one hand and kissed her lips, while his other hand slipped under her skirt. Bai Ye widened her watery eyes, tears glistening in her eyes. She knew what he wanted and stiffened her body, refusing. But how could she be his opponent? When his fingers broke through the last barrier, Bai Ye was so ashamed that she wanted to bite him. Instead, he let go of her lips. There was no desire in his eyes as he looked at her angrily. Reject me again, or louder. If someone barges in, I can't do anything about it. Baya pushed his arm. Don't be like this, don't be like this. He didn't move an inch. Don't be like this. It's not like we haven't done this before. Is there a difference if we do it once or twice? You saw it too. It's impossible for us to be together. They are already discussing your marriage with Su Shaoling. Do you want us to make mistakes after we get married? Baya wasn't calm. He let go of her, unzipped his pants and stood in front of her. Don't worry, I will never marry Su Shaoling. I will only marry you. Baya paused for a moment, her heart trembling violently. He had already entered. She almost cried out, but he kissed her lips, silencing her voice. Baya furrowed her brows in frustration. Only then did he let go of her lips, his eyes burning as he looked at every expression on her face. Baya bit her lips. She couldn't push him away, she couldn't escape, she couldn't hide. What should she do? She felt wronged and sad. Tears flowed from the corner of her eyes. Gu Lingqing saw her crying and his heart softened. I know you must have something. You didn't tell me because you were afraid of implicating me. You don't have to tell me, I will investigate it myself. Don't worry, I will definitely help you solve it. Baya was touched. She was so touched that she couldn't put it into words. She could only suppress it. I'm fine. I won't let you off even if you're fine. You are my first woman. You don't have to be responsible for me, but you have to be responsible for me. If you don't take responsibility, I won't let you off, Gu Lingqing said domineeringly. Baya couldn't think anymore. She pursed her lips and gradually lost herself in the dream he had created. There was a knock on the door. She got nervous and Gu Lingqing was quite satisfied with her reaction. He pulled her in front of him and leaned on her tightly. Xiaoya, what are you doing inside? You've been in there for a long time, Su Jiran asked suspiciously. Gu Lingqing thought about it and didn't want to push it away. Su Jiran knocked on the door more urgently. I'll be out in a while, Baya replied angrily. Open the door, Su Jiran ordered. Are you done? Baya urged and pushed Gu Lingqing's shoulders. Kiss me, Gu Lingqing ordered. Su Jiran knocked on the door again. Baya looked at Gu Lingqing and didn't have any intention of stopping. She had no choice but to hug the back of Gu Lingqing's neck and kiss his lips. Gu Lingqing picked her up and pushed her against the door. Baya wanted to cry but had no tears. Shaoling, do you have the key to this washroom? Su Jiran kissed Su Shaoling. Yes, I'll get it for you, Su Shaoling said confusedly. Oh yeah, did you see Gu Lingqing? Su Jiran's eyes shot out a sharp light. He glanced at the washroom door and his face turned pale. I didn't see him. Give me the key, Su Jiran said coldly. Baya was so nervous that her heart was about to jump out. Gu Lingqing also kissed her fiercely in the end. The door was opened. Su Jiran glanced at the washroom. There was no one. Baya. What? My stomach hurts. Baya lowered her head and her face was as red as blood. Su Jiran knocked on the door of the washroom. Open it. Wait. Baya took a deep breath, then another deep breath. She pressed on the toilet and opened the door. Su Jiran glanced inside. There was only Baya. He glanced at Baya's face. Why is your face so red? It's like this when I drink. My head hurts a little. I want to go back to sleep, Baya said guiltily. She remembered that when she caught Su Jiran with another woman, he could talk and laugh as if nothing had happened. Why couldn't she? She hadn't been caught yet and she felt so guilty that she was about to die. Why was there such a big difference in the endurance of people? Su Jiran opened the washroom window and looked outside. Outside the window was the back garden. Chapter 70. Baya wasn't good at lying. She licked her lips to cover up her panic. She answered ambiguously, "Didn't everyone see it today?" "Really?" Su Jiran stared at her coldly. His eyes were as sharp as a knife, as if he had seen through her lies. Baya looked at Su Jiran in confusion. He was with another woman, and even did that kind of thing in front of her. Why didn't he find out that he was wrong at that time? At that time, she might have felt the same as him now. Angry, desperate, crazy, collapsed, and began to doubt life. Baya calmed down. "What do you want to prove?" "I don't want to prove anything. I think you've heard that Gu Lingqing and Su Shaoling are about to get married. His parents like Su Shaoling very much, and they won't accept other women. The Su family won't let you go. Don't humiliate yourself. Don't even have some thoughts. Otherwise, I can guarantee that your life will be several times more painful than it is now. Do you hear me?" Su Jiran ordered. Baya's eyes dimmed. In fact, she understood in her heart. She didn't dare to think about her and Gu Lingqing at all. Just now, it wasn't what she was willing to do. However, listening to Gu Lingqing's confession, she was moved. She was moved for a moment. After all, being moved for a moment was like living for a lifetime. "I know." Baya walked to the sink, turned on the tap, and washed her face. When she walked out of the bathroom, Gu Lingqing was already sitting on the sofa, talking to Su Changhao. He looked at her with deep eyes. Baya didn't dare to look at him, so she turned her face away. "Uncle Su, Uncle Gu, Xiaoya is not feeling well. We'll go back first." Su Jiran smiled and greeted them. He seemed to be well-mannered. "Did you drink too much?" "Go back and rest," Su Xiaoling's mother said lovingly. Baya nodded to Su Xiaoling's mother and left the room. Gu Lingqing watched as Baya walked away. Su Changhao patted Gu Lingqing's thigh to make Gu Lingqing come back to his senses. He lowered his voice and asked, "What's going on between you and Baya?" "She's my cousin's woman. I heard they've been married for 3 years. She is my woman," Gu Lingqing said with certainty. Su Changhao was shocked by Gu Lingqing. "You like her? She's a married woman. Are you crazy? Don't you want your future? You are most likely to become the president." Su Changhao was worried. "She will divorce soon." "I know what I'm doing," Gu Lingqing said confidently. "What do you know?" "My cousin isn't someone to be trifled with. His mother is actually very close to the president. His career is also very bright. His methods are not what you think. You can provoke anyone but my cousin's woman." Su Changhao disagreed. "Do you remember I told you that I was injected with a drug during a mission 3 years ago and hurt a woman?" Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. Su Changhao paused and guessed, "That woman is Baya." Gu Lingqing nodded. "I ruined her life. I have to be responsible for her. Think carefully. You might not love her. It's because you feel guilty and sorry for her for a long time. You just want to make it up to her. Her character is completely different from Hailan. I don't believe you're in love with her." "I know what I feel for her," Gu Lingqing said with certainty. "Brother, what are you talking about?" Su Shaoling sat next to Gu Lingqing. Su Changhao smiled and said to Su Shaoling, "What I'm talking to him about is confidential. You better not know about this kind of thing. I'm not interested either. Lingqing, Mom and Dad discussed with Uncle and Auntie to let us get engaged in October. What do you think? Su Xiaoling asked happily. Gu Lingqing stood up and held Su Xiaoling's arm. They walked to the front of the parents. Su Xiaoling lowered her head sweetly. There's something I need to tell you. I've always treated Ling as my sister. I'll take care of her like my biological sister. However, I don't have any romantic feelings for her. This is what I want to tell you today, Gu Lingqing said bluntly. The parents' faces turned ugly. Bastard, do you know what you're talking about? Gu Tianheng opened his eyes wide and said angrily. I know what I'm talking about and what I want. I know how I should get along with Ling Er. It's not a bad thing for Ling Er to have one more brother, Gu Lingqing said coldly. Having one brother is enough for me. Su Xiaoling pulled her hand out. She was very irrational. Gu Lingqing didn't give her any face at all. She had no choice but to give up. Is it because of Baya? As soon as the name Baya came out, everyone was shocked. They looked at Gu Lingqing in surprise. Gu Lingqing clenched his teeth. His eyes emitted a sharp light as he glanced at Su Xiaoling. It's because I don't like you, Gu Lingqing said sharply. Then swear to Mom and Dad and everyone that you don't like Baya. You won't be with Baya, Su Xiaoling said aggressively. I don't need to swear to anyone. There's something going on in the army. I have to go back now. Gu Lingqing nodded at the elders and walked out of the room. Ling Er, what do you mean by that? Is Baya Jieran's wife? Su Xiaoling's mother pulled Su Xiaoling's hand. Su Xiaoling's eyes were red. Tears flowed out of her eyes. It's that B*TCH. There was a loud bang. Gu Tianheng smashed the glass on the floor and said angrily, Impossible. I will never let that kind of woman into the house. Su Xiaoling's mother looked at Su Changhao. How, you're Gu Lingqing's good friend and also Ling Er's brother. Tell me, what's going on? Su Changhao laughed dryly. Seeing everyone's murderous expression, he said, What are you guys thinking? It's impossible for Lingqing and Baya to be together. Baya is Jieran's wife. Lingqing just can't forget Zhou Hailan. He can't take it anymore because you guys are forcing him. Hailan has been dead for 5 years. Su Xiaoling exposed Su Changhao's lie. Lingqing has always been sentimental. He still has his primary school books. You guys know that. Alright, my baby sister. Su Changhao put his arm around Su Xiaoling's shoulder. He said earnestly, if you want Lingqing to like you, you should change your temper. You're so impulsive. How can Lingqing show his face? If I were Lingqing, I wouldn't like a woman like you either. Especially if you want to be my wife. I must find a virtuous woman. Su Changhao became the peacemaker. He saw everyone's expression soften. He sighed. Chapter 71. Baya thought about it and went back to Xiongdani. Along the way, Su Jiran kept examining her. She could feel his gaze. It was like a sharp blade cutting her body. She could only ignore it and pretend that she did not see it. Baya, did you do it with Gu Lingqing? If you did, I'm willing to let you go, Su Jiran said coldly. Baya paused. She turned her head and looked at Su Jiran confusedly. She looked at his cold face. She could not tell if what he said was true or not. If she did it, would Su Jiran take revenge on Gu Lingqing? She did not want to hurt Gu Lingqing. Su Jiran, aside from those external reasons, do you think we're still suitable to be together? You've seen how your mother views me. You're so smart. You should know that no one will be happy, Baya said coldly. Su Jiran curled his lips and walked in front of her, as if he had seen through her. Are you changing the topic? Baya raised her chin. I'm just stating the truth. The truth is that Gu Lingqing's parents will never accept you. You should give up. If I find out that you're still in a relationship with Gu Lingqing, I promise that I'll ruin his reputation. You can try to challenge me, Su Jiran threatened. If he ruins his reputation, what about you? Do you think that you can protect yourself? Do you think that the dirty things you've done will be buried in the dust of time? Baya frowned and asked. She did not hide her disgust for Su Jiran. Su Jiran curled his lips. He held Baya's waist and pulled her into his arms. He said arrogantly, let's try. Baya desperately tried to pull him away. She didn't like his wild aura. The more she struggled, the more sinister he became. Baya, it's time for us to live as a married couple, right? Baya looked at him in panic. Su Jiran, don't go overboard. Even if we're married, I can sue you if I don't want to. I've already told you. Am I afraid? Su Jiran said arrogantly. He carried Baya and walked towards Xiongdani's room. Baya realized that what Su Jiran said was true. She didn't want Su Jiran to touch her. Su Jiran, let go of me. Let go of me. She struggled desperately, but she couldn't break free at all. In a moment of desperation, he bit Su Jiran's shoulder. He bit it hard. Her mouth was full of blood, but she didn't let go. Su Jiran's face was ashen, and his eyes were filled with loneliness and murderous intent. He threw Baya on the sofa and untied his tie. Baya hurriedly ran towards the door. She had only taken a few steps when she was pulled back by Su Jiran. She scratched at Su Jiran's face like a madman. Su Jiran had completely lost his mind. His eyes were bloodshot, and he grabbed Baya's hands and tied them behind her back. Baya knew that she couldn't escape this. She was trembling in fear. Su Jiran, don't do this. Don't touch me. I promise to stay by your side forever. Don't touch me. She screamed the last word. She looked at Su Jiran in fear and defensiveness. She felt especially helpless. Su Jiran stared at her. He leaned over and his breath approached her. He lifted her chin. Didn't you always want me to sleep with you? That's because I still loved you. Baya choked. Su Jiran rubbed her lips with his thumb and said fiercely, then continue to love me. He kissed her lips forcefully. Baya pursed her lips and gritted her teeth. Su Jiran couldn't get in, so he let go of her and ordered, open your mouth. Baya shook her head in fear. Her eyes were red. Su Jiran was like a demon to her now. He wanted to push her to the deepest part of hell. Then don't open your mouth. I can kiss other places. Su Jiran tore off the buttons of her clothes with brute force. He lowered his head and kissed her shoulder. No, it wasn't a kiss. It was a bite. Just like how she had bitten him just now, his sharp teeth went deep into her skin. Baya was in pain and despair. Her eyes were filled with mist, refracting light and becoming blurry. She was destined to be unfortunate from the moment she was born. Her father loathed her mother and found a woman outside. She and Xing Jinyan were born at the same time. Xing Jinyan was in the hospital with her parents. She was born on the cold ground. Only despair and sadness had saved her mother. Her mother was sent to a mental hospital because of her and could never come out. Her friend, because of her, was photographed naked. Her lover had provoked someone he shouldn't have provoked because of her. What if she died? Would all the bad things come to an end because of her death? She didn't want to have anything to do with Su Jiran even if she died. Baya closed her eyes and bit her tongue, letting the pain numb all her nerves. What are you doing? Xiongdani screamed. Su Jiran looked at Xiongdani and furrowed his brows. Xiongdani rushed over and slapped Baya's face indiscriminately. You be *tch, are you so cheap? Can't you find a man? Baya felt her face burning. She couldn't argue back. No matter what she said, no one would believe her. Why should she say it out loud to embarrass herself? She didn't even want to cry. That was just a way to make her enemies happy. Divorce her immediately. This kind of woman doesn't deserve to be my daughter-in-law. Xiongdani ordered Su Jiran. Mom, what's wrong with you? Baya and I love each other very much. Why should we divorce? Su Jiran rejected. You're still in the dark, aren't you? Xiaoling already said that Baya hooked up with Gu Lingqing. Why do you want such a fickle woman? Aren't you on good terms with Xing Jinyan? I'd rather you have Xing Jinyan than to be with her. She's a disgrace. Xiongdani was so angry that her face turned red. Xiaoling has misunderstood. She has me. How can she be with Gu Lingqing? Mom, are you overestimating Baya or underestimating your own son? Su Jiran hugged Xiongdani's shoulders and said. She's really not with Gu Lingqing. Of course not, Su Jiran replied with a smile. Xiongdani looked at Baya's disheveled clothes and was instantly enraged. She slapped Baya's face again. Remember, this slap is to teach you a lesson. If you dare to mess around with the identity of Mrs. Su, this isn't a lesson. What the hell, are you so impatient? Go on. Xiongdani found it hard to speak. She said in disdain, don't dirty my place. Baya stood up and broke free from Su Jiran's tie. She slapped Xiongdani's face. Xiongdani had never been slapped before. She looked at Baya in shock. This slap is for you, Baya said coldly. Chapter 72. Xiongdani was furious. She raised her hand and slapped Baya's face. Baya grabbed Xiongdani's wrist. You cherish your son, but don't slander other people's daughters. Have you ever stopped your son from having fun outside? Where did you get the cheek to care about other people's daughters? Jiran, why are you still standing there? Hit her. If I don't make her apologize, my surname isn't Xiong, Xiongdani yelled. Baya looked at Su Jiran coldly and met his deep eyes. Baya, apologize, Su Jiran said in a commanding tone. Even if I apologize, I won't be doing it to you and your son. You don't deserve it, Baya said stubbornly. Divorce, we have to divorce. Baya, you be *tch. Get out of here with nothing. You don't want a single cent from Jiran's assets. Xiongdani stomped her feet angrily. Okay, Baya agreed decisively. Su Jiran slapped Baya's face. He used a lot of force. Baya was thrown to the ground. Her head was white, and she felt dizzy as if she was seeing stars. Hot liquid flowed out of her nose. She took half a minute to regain her senses. For a moment, she thought she was going to faint. She didn't want to faint in Su Jiran's house. She looked at Su Jiran with a cold and empty gaze. If I don't teach you a lesson, do you really think I'll let you do whatever you want? Su Jiran said angrily. Jiran, you did a good job. A woman like her should suffer a little. Otherwise, she wouldn't have closed her legs. Be *tch, Xiong Dailin scolded. Shouldn't you apologize now? Su Jiran warned fiercely. Baya stood up and straightened his back. You can beat me to death, but don't expect me to beg for mercy from you people. Don't you miss your friends? Su Jiran asked in a sinister tone. Baiya paused. Yes, she still had friends. She couldn't drag them down because of her. Baiya smiled, defeated like a pear blossom. What he was suffering now was because his brain was filled with water back then. She shouldn't have provoked a demon like Su Jiran. I'm sorry. Baiya looked down and said coldly. Get lost. Don't ever come to my place again, bitch. Xiong Dani roared. Baiya walked out without looking back. When Su Jiran saw her walk past him, he felt as though his heart was pinched by a bee. It hurt, ached, and was a little panicked. Jiran, you can't have a woman like her. Hurry up and get a divorce. Because of her, I won't object to you marrying Xing Jinyan. It's better than her, Xiong Dani said in frustration. Mom, Xiaoya is a good person. She's just a little stubborn. Most of the time, she's quite sensible. Give her a chance to get to know her better. Su Jiran looked out of the house. Baiya was leaving. He wanted to leave too. What's so good about it? She slapped me twice. My face is still red. Didn't you see? She slapped me twice. I can't let her off so easily. Divorce, we must get a divorce, Xiong Dani said domineeringly. Didn't you slap her twice too? Su Jiran coaxed Xiong Dani gently. I'm an elder. It's my duty to beat her to death. Yes, you're right. I helped you slap her too. She even had a nosebleed. Calm down, Mom. Worst comes to worst, I'll beat her again when I get home. I'll beat her until she can't get out of bed. Is that okay? Su Jiran said with a smile. I really don't know why you don't want to get a divorce. Xiong Dani was confused. I'm the deputy director of the health bureau now. If I get a divorce, won't it affect my future? Don't worry. First of all, you're married in secret. Secondly, even if you get a divorce, I can say a few words in front of the president. He won't refuse to promote you. He'll put you in an important position in the future. Xiong Dani sighed. I'll see to it. Okay, Mom. Don't be angry. I'll put some on your face. Otherwise, it'll hurt your beautiful face. Su Jiran let go of Xiong Dani and walked to the fridge. Rumble, there was thunder outside. The sky suddenly became gloomy. Su Jiran looked out of the window worriedly. It was difficult to get a taxi here, let alone a bus. Baiya shouldn't have gone far. Mom, it's going to rain. I should go back, Su Jiran said. No. Let that bitch suffer a little. She won't disobey me in the future. Put some on my face. Hurry up. Xiong Dani said overbearingly. Su Jiran looked out of the window. His eyes were fierce. He didn't go out. He took some ice cubes out of the fridge. Baiya was walking on the road. Raindrops dripped on her nose. She looked up at the sky. It was dark, as if a storm was coming. Compared with the devil Su Jiran, a little rain was nothing. She called a taxi, but the nearest one would arrive in half an hour. They were afraid of being stood up and didn't want to come. She could only walk forward. In less than 2 minutes, the rain poured down and hit her thin body. Soon, she was drenched. She wanted to find a place to hide from the rain, but the storm didn't look like it would stop anytime soon. She could only walk on the road and try her luck to see if anyone was willing to give her a ride. A car stopped beside her. Gu Lingqing rolled down the window. Get in. Baiya saw that it was Gu Lingqing. She didn't want to get in. No need. Gu Lingqing took off his suit and opened the car door to get out. She knew that she couldn't fight him. She didn't want him to get wet, so she opened the car door and got in. Gu Lingqing saw her face. A sharp light flashed in his eyes. He pinched her chin and pushed her over. Her face was red and swollen. Her fingers were intertwined. He gritted his teeth. He felt heartache and anger. Who hit you? Su Jiran, you lied to me that you were in love with each other. She saw concern in his eyes. Her eyes were wet. She was too tired now. She didn't want to fight with her heart, so she didn't say anything. Gu Lingqing passed the suit to her. Put it on. Don't catch a cold. Bai put on his suit. His clothes still carried his body heat, and it was very warm. She gathered her clothes and leaned back in her chair to look at him. You still don't want to tell me why you compromised with Su Jiran? Or do you really want me to go crazy? Gu Lingqing looked at her domineeringly. Bai Yao was touched. The redness in her eyes deepened. She said softly, Gu Lingqing, if I hadn't met you, I would have lost all hope. Gu Lingqing could hear the compromise in her tone. He turned his face away and held her cold hand. Leave everything to me. I'll handle it properly. Tears flowed from her eyes. They passed through her lips. They were salty. She looked out of the window. She could destroy herself. She liked him and didn't want to bring him along. Gu Lingqing, how long have we known each other? Baiya asked calmly. I've asked this question before. Let's change it, Gu Lingqing said. Chapter 73. She really liked Gu Lingqing. She liked him when he was gentle. She liked him when he was domineering. She quite liked it when he was being unreasonable. That was why she was willing to give it to him, but she didn't want Su Jiran to touch it. What are you laughing at? Gu Lingqing asked. I, Baiya, don't deserve to be liked by you. I think I'm quite lucky. Baiya took a deep breath and adjusted his emotions. Gu Lingqing didn't say anything. He just looked at the car in front of him. The heavy rain pitter-pattered on the car, which made him very annoyed. Baiya looked at Gu Lingqing, and his eyes softened. Gu Lingqing, actually, I'm satisfied with this. Gu Lingqing suddenly braked, looked at Baiya, and said coldly, I don't feel satisfied. What should I do? You can't see a person clearly in a month. Some people can't be seen clearly even after a year, 3 years, or even 10 years. I think I'm not the person you've been looking for, Baiya said rationally. Whether you're the person I've been waiting for, I know it myself. Baiya, I won't allow you to back off. Gu Lingqing held her arm tightly and looked at her with burning eyes. But I know clearly that you're not the person I've been waiting for. The more I get to know you, the more I feel that you're not suitable. Love is not a one-way choice. As long as one party disagrees, it won't be balanced. Baiya looked straight at him and didn't back off. So, you don't like me, right? Gu Lingqing asked coldly. Baiya swallowed bitterly. I don't like you. What do you mean by you don't like me? Gu Lingqing's tone became colder. Because I know you want me. You've helped me a lot, and I can't repay you. So you're repaying me. Gu Lingqing shook off her hand. Baiya clenched her fists and lowered her eyes. Her long eyelashes covered the ripples in her eyes as she admitted, yes. Gu Lingqing punched the steering wheel. The car honked shrilly. Gu Lingqing's chest heaved violently. He was silent for a minute. Baiya was also silent. She was so silent that the temperature of her body had completely receded. She felt waves of coldness invading her heart. After a long time, Gu Lingqing squinted at him. Her secretive eyes were like dead wood. Do you think it's possible for you to fall in love with me? Baiya shook her head. Your liking is already a burden to me. Got it. Gu Lingqing was driving. Along the way, he didn't speak again and sent Baiya to Lu Shuang's place. As soon as Baiya got out of the car, Gu Lingqing drove the car away before she could return the clothes to him. She looked at the back of the car and stood there in silence. She knew that she had completely lost him. That was good. He was high up and shouldn't have anything to do with a woman like her. In the future, she could just see him on TV. Baiya turned around and entered the elevator. Just when she came out of the elevator, her phone rang. She saw that it was Su Jiran calling. She felt very annoyed and didn't answer it. Instead, she muted the phone and threw it on the sofa. She went into the bathroom, took a shower, changed her clothes, took out ice from the fridge and put it on her face. Then she went to the kitchen to make dinner for Lu Shuang. Everything was calm as if nothing had happened during the day. Lu Shuang opened the door and saw the dishes on the table. It smells so good. Wash your hands and come for dinner. Baiya walked out of the kitchen with the yam ribs. Are you okay today? Lu Shuang asked worriedly. He walked towards Baiya and saw the red and swollen face. His heart skipped a beat. Who hit you? Su Jiran. Baiya smiled. It's just a flesh wound. I don't feel any pain now. Compared to the first year of my marriage, I feel much better. He's using domestic violence. Lu Shuang said angrily. I slapped his mother twice, and he slapped me once. Actually, I'm the one who earned it. Baiya comforted him with a smile. That scumbag Su Jiran actually has a mother. The more Lu Shuang thought about it, the more he felt that Baiya's life would be very hard in the future. Let's eat. When Su Jiran finds another prey, I can resume my peaceful life. Based on my understanding of him, he won't be interested in a woman for more than 3 months. Don't worry. Baiya sat down and started eating. Lu Shuang held Baiya's hand and said guiltily, Xiao Bai, I'm sorry. I've harmed you. Otherwise, you and Gu Lingqing would be together. I met Gu Lingqing's parents today. One is the high and mighty deputy commander, and the other is a strong woman. What do you think about me? Baiya asked. I think you're pretty good. Lu Shuang blurted out. That's because we're colleagues and friends. In fact, a person like Gu Lingqing will marry a woman who matches his family background. Otherwise, his future will not be smooth. Even if you hadn't done this, Gu Lingqing and I wouldn't have been able to be together. Let's just treat it as a dream. Baiya smiled. Have you really let it go? Lu Shuang's eyes turned red. I think it's a pity. Of course it's a pity. Gu Lingqing is equivalent to a few thousand tons of rice. Anyone would be envious of him. However, I can only eat 3 buckets of rice a day. It's not suitable. Baiya picked up a piece of braised pork for Lu Shuang. If you can't eat it, you can sell it. Why are you so stubborn? Lu Shuang's eyes turned even redder. Baiya held Lu Shuang's hand. To me, friends are precious. I've thought it through. Lu Shuang's phone rang. She saw it was Su Jiran and got angry. Why are you calling me? Do you want to die? Open the door. I'm outside. Su Jiran used a commanding tone and hung up the phone. Lu Shuang picked up the mop, opened the door, and hit Su Jiran without any explanation. Su Jiran grasped the mop even faster than him. Lu Shuang pulled a few times but couldn't get the mop out. He scolded. How dare you come here? Where's my nude photo? Why don't you go and die? I saw you and Xing Jinyan doing unspeakable things in the wild with my own eyes. Why are you pestering Xiao Bai? Su Jiran ignored Lu Shuang and glanced at Baiya sharply. Follow me. Baiya pursed her lips and didn't say a word. I'll only give you 1 minute. I'll wait for you downstairs, Su Jiran said and flung the mop from Lu Shuang's hand. He looked at her maliciously and turned to leave. Baiya, don't go. Let him do it. I don't care. I have a good figure. What's there to be afraid of? Lu Shuang said irrationally. Baiya stood up and told Lu Shuang, I'll deal with it myself. Stay at home and don't do anything. I'll see you at the hospital tomorrow. Don't go. Lu Shuang cried anxiously. I'll have to face it eventually. There's no way to avoid it. I'll be fine. Baiya smiled. She threw her phone into her bag and walked out of the door. The more Lu Shuang thought about it, the more dangerous Baiya felt. You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.